Silent John incremental, another silent instrumental, the nerd rap existential. People compare me to MC Christopher a lot, but the fact is I predicted with significance. I'm the oldest geek rapper by far, save K&R. Compiling kernels, open bracket, cause I rack it. And my teen nerds throw your laser pen in the air and weave it all around like you had no repercussions. Now follow instructions, Professor. Why these discussions consist of nothing but incoherent rambling and babbling? But you just still take notes cause you never know what's happening. I'll drop a little nugget, a tidbit if you will. There were 4 United States presidents named Bill. Really? If you run out of hit points, the game will shout.
Your life force is running out.
If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life, yeah. Let me start again, put it on like a cardigan, swinging like my name was Mad Mardigan. Which reminds me, Warwick Davis was Willow and a Newok. Leonard Nimoy was Galvatron and Spock. That ain't typecast, I don't know what it. Talk about predestiny, nobody gets the best of me. I've only played one role my whole lifetime. The nerd lifeline, stream through a wicked pipeline. So no one can bite mine, cause mine is original and I write rhymes to burn on a CD, play in the mini-V. Soccer moms yodel back, yodel at little me. I got a sidekick, I gotta stay connected. Watch out for my D-com or you'll get infected. And you don't wanna be one of my bots, cause I see it all like Sauron the Cyclops. And I won't hesitate to drop your whole net block if you're acting up and you're dumber than a pet rock. I'm about this nerd life, as you can see, spreading like a virus on MP3.
Yeah, on MP3. STC. Shout out to Vic, Agnostic One, up with fucking Silent John. Yeah. Nerd Life, Graphing Calculator, HP48G. The G is for gangster. Digital Snip, yeah. You know how we do.
What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGT coming back with another Gabbing with Geeks. And as you can see, I am flying so low. That's okay because I'm sure someone's going to pop in just a bit. People have been asking, who was that? That was YT Cracker giving us the brilliant Dig Dug. He's old school nerdcore rapper. But welcome everybody who's watching. I know it's been a busy weekend. Things are crazy around here. We in this community have been getting a lot of hate ever since we hit 1,000. We hit 1,000. Lots of people coming out of the woodworks, taking shots. People just can't handle it. They just can't handle that the Geek Getaway is doing big things. We're making moves. We're doing things that other people can't do. Other things people want to do. We're doing collaborations. We got people showing up on the show. We got people in talks with to do some interviews, things like that. And people, they just can't handle it. A lot of jealousy going around in this community, but we'll deal with it. Now, Bob should be here. I don't know where he went. He was here earlier. We were talking. I don't know if he fell asleep. Stuff happens. Little Movie Perp says he just wants that clout. That's good. It happens. We know that. So I guess we'll just go into how my week has been, because my week, as always, has been fantastic. Just chilling, hanging out, doing some streaming, talking to some people. My new work schedule kicked my ass. They got me working from 5 a.m. in the morning until 3:30 at night, plus travel time. So I'm getting up at way too early, getting up at like 3:30. So it's like a 12-hour workday when you factor in travel, coming home, all that shit. So it's terrible. Yeah. It really has killed my productivity. I was hoping to get like 2 or 3 videos out every day. It's kind of killed my productivity, but I did move some things around on the desk. So hopefully the audio is just a little bit better. I tried to move some things, get some things set up. So let me know, is the audio better or worse than what it was before? With that said, imagine not getting hate on YouTube. Couldn't be me, Rabbit Dude. I've been getting hate on the internet before I even started doing YouTube, before I started doing any of this. People were hating on me. A lot of people, they don't like differing opinions. A lot of people think that their opinion is a fact when it is not. A lot of people like to push their beliefs, their thoughts onto other people. You know, you got to think a certain way. You got to act a certain way. I was told today that jokes can only be about certain things. You can't joke about everything, right? There's only certain topics you're allowed to tell jokes about. There's only certain topics you're allowed to laugh about. Now, myself, I believe that you can laugh about anything. You can joke about anything. Not every joke is equal, right? Some jokes are funnier than others. Some jokes don't land. But I think that you are allowed to make an attempt at anything. Joke about anything. We got people who will claim you're triggered just by showing up, right? Just showing up to watch a live stream. I got people calling me triggered because I'm engaging in the chat. I'm doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing, right? You're engaging in the chat, talking to people. They think you're triggered because you have a different opinion, because you have a different belief, because you don't hold the same values that they might hold. Very weird YouTube world. But other than those things, I've been doing good. Tonight we got a robust schedule. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going to be talking about Andor Episode 10, Studio Ghibli and their Star Wars project. We're going to talk about the DOOM Eternal original soundtrack controversy. God of War Ragnarök just launched. It's doing great numbers. We're going to talk about that. Of course, we got to mention that Kevin Conroy died. We'll give our thoughts on that. Some Black Panther Wakanda Forever review. We got to go over the weekly polls like always. Maybe we'll talk a little bit of Amico. We did have some Amico stuff yesterday on Friday Night Drama. And apparently there was a debate on Friday Night Drama. Me and Little Movie Perp, we debated some things about the Little Mermaid being black and whether or not it's okay to do that and changing characters versus just creating new ones. You know, Mitty says jokes about things you shouldn't joke about are extra funny. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can joke about things. I don't believe that a joke causes any real world harm. There's people that believe that if you tell a joke, that suddenly people are being oppressed. People are dying. You know, people are being dragged out of their homes and fucking beat up or some shit. It's really weird. See, Movie Perp says he was out of his league, apparently. I had a lot of people tell me that. Why did I bother? It was clear that you weren't equipped for that kind of discussion. So I don't tell you, Perp. Perp says he won. I was told I won. I don't know. I'll leave it up to the chat. We'll put a poll in the chat. For those of you who did see the stream yesterday, let me know who do you think did a better job debating? Was it me? Was it Little Movie Perp? Let me know. Let me type this up.
What the heck? Where's everybody?
I have no idea. But it looks like we got Wakanda Forever here and Baku.
Yeah, what's up?
So, how's your week been, Jordan? How's your week been?
It's been okay. I mean, I saw Wakanda Forever, and we'll get into that.
Did you see the discussion I had with Little Movie Perp yesterday?
I saw bits and pieces, but not the whole thing.
Little Movie Perp seemed to be upset. I said in another chat that people told me he was kind of out of his league. He seems very upset by that comment.
In terms of, what do you mean?
That he just wasn't able to handle the discussion. Like, every time I would make a point, he'd either just agree with me or be like, yeah, I didn't think about it that way. He wasn't able to provide any facts or evidence to back up any of the statements he made. You know, he said things like this would get a wider audience if the character was changed. And I asked him for stats on people that watched movies with white characters versus people that watched only movies with black characters, and how many more black people watched the black movie versus the white movie. And he had no stats. He's like, a lot of this is assumptions. And I'm like, well, then how can you make any opinion Everything you're saying is opinion,
claims.
right? You can't make any claims if you got no facts to back it up.
Yeah, I mean, even the race breakdown on movies is kind of iffy, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
there is stats, even for new movies right when they come out. But I think that's really only in the first weekend they do the race breakdown.
yeah,
I could be wrong, but
well, because it's real hard to keep track. You would have to like go to like every theater. A lot of it's going to be
yeah,
extrapolation, and that's going to be wildly inaccurate based on where you're taking the data from.
yeah, and they're not polling every theater. I think they're just it's kind of like Cinescores.
Yeah. He says, I think it's safe to assume more black people saw Get Out over Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I don't think that's safe to assume because Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a huge movie. It's part of the whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. That was a big deal. Like
I mean,
Halloween,
I
I'm
think
sure
it
a lot of
would be
Halloween.
safe to assume, but I mean, you would have to compare the first two weekends and the race stats. I don't even think we have race stats on.
Going that far
Are we
back.
talking? Yeah, you're talking about the original Chainsaw Massacre 2, right? So
Yeah.
that is far back. Yeah, I don't think there's stats on that. So you could just
See,
assume, yeah.
This is the thing. He'll say things like, it's safe for me. So you can't debate somebody. You can't have a discussion with somebody who's just adamant that the things they say are facts when they're not.
I might want to go look up the stats for Get Out because I wouldn't be surprised if Get Out also had a large white audience as well because it was Jordan Peele
Yeah, that's what I said.
and it was his first movie. So there wasn't really an establishment, right? People just knew his comedy stuff, which is extremely popular. So, it could have been mixed.
Because like I said, the whole thing was about whether or not, because in the video, it was a video that Actual Fandom and Little Movie Perp did in regards to changing Ariel to black is not equal to changing Black Panther to white. And in part of the video, their premise was, well, it would reach an audience that a white Ariel wouldn't reach, right? And I said, well, are you saying that black people don't watch Disney movies, right? Like what is it that a black Ariel, what audience is it reaching that a white Ariel would not reach? Was the whole question. That's where everything hinged on.
So Aston Post, I don't know where he got this from, but yeah, this is what.
The Georgia being the most profitable market. Damn. I think I find Georgia that being weird because I would think that somewhere like a New York or California.
Well, Georgia would.
I'm just saying because it's got a bigger population, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's only by 3 points. So like I said, it kind of makes sense that because sometimes you would see movies where it's like there's a extremely high black population and then a low white population, right? People who saw it. So yeah, there's probably not going to be stats for Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah, he said representation. You agree to that? I agree that representation is good. It's good to have things that are positive for people to look up to. I never debated it. That was never the topic of debate.
But I don't really agree with the comparison because Black Panther's whole thing is about the African, the African background, right? It's not like this takes place in South Africa, right? Where it's like, okay, you could have like maybe a white character. It's a bit of a reach, I would say. But then
the Black Panther does have a adopted white brother.
Yeah, about that the White Wolf, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
But then Ariel's a character who, I mean, she's. So I remember like a couple of months ago, I said that I thought it was based on some Caribbean thing. It's not. It's a Danish story.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So yeah, it's a Danish story, right? So, but then in the the animated one,
Sebastian is Caribbean, obviously.
Yeah, he's obviously Caribbean, but like the characters are white. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of off. Like the comparison is off. I feel like a better comparison, like swapping Ariel with something else that's more comparable to Black Panther, in my opinion.
See, Little Movie Perp says, I think because representation matters. Well, I assume that more black people saw Get Out over Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Yeah, but that's the thing. A, you're making an assumption. B, you're dismissing the fact that black people would even watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, right? Like, why wouldn't they watch it? There's nothing in the movie that's like black people wouldn't want to watch it. It's just a horror movie.
Yeah, and this is not accounting for over time.
Yeah. And our special guest, Vito. What's going on?
Oh,
Vito?
what's up?
Microphone super low.
Yeah, kind of.
Test 1 1. Hold on. Test 1 1 2. That should be better.
Yeah,
that's better. Yeah.
Hey everybody.
So how's your week been, Vito?
That's a good question. I've been kind of lazy this week because I got back from Vegas on Sunday night.
I heard you were out there hanging with Johnny Depp and Andrew Sigmund.
Johnny Depp. You get to meet Johnny Depp, and he got to meet Johnny Depp. But yeah, it's been, I don't know, it's been a weird week. I got a lot of stuff I got to do. Got a lot of stuff with the comic book. People keep sending me art. I got to like look at it and tell them if it's good. And if it's not good, I got to tell them why and how to fix it. It's complicated.
It's not how much longer before the book is actually ready to go?
It's going to be a little while. I mean, actually, we could get it done quicker. The problem is I'm like, I'm super particular, So I'm doing it in the most complicated way possible, which I should not be doing, but I'm doing it anyway, which is American comic books, the writer does not storyboard anything. In American comic books, it's usually just you hand the artist a script and you go, do what feels right, man. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't know if I can do that because I got all these like scenes in my head of like exactly how it should look. So I've been storyboarding the pages before handing it off to the artist, which complicates the process, but I hope will result in a better product. That's how they do it in Japan. Manga, or at least if you have a two-person team, the writer is supposed to, in Japan, provides the artist with a storyboard and is like, here's how it looks in my head. Now actually draw it good. But in America, I don't know, man. So maybe I'm being an idiot. Maybe I don't need to do it this way, but I just have a very particular vision.
Yeah, whatever's better for the book. I seen the few storyboards that you showed me. I was privileged to see, and they're looking good. So I would go with what's working.
I'm happy with it. I feel like we're moving in the right direction.
Because I feel like now that you said that makes sense. Because when I read Isom, it feels like he was just like here's some words and like make some sense out of it.
Yeah, because that's I guess how it's typically done. But yeah, and then Isom, anytime there's like a problem, it's like because he didn't tell the artist, hey, when two guys punch each other, you got to show the punch.
Show the impact.
Oof.
Yeah, you can't just have two guys run at each other and then be like, oh, that's good enough. You got to actually show the impact. It's a complicated process, obviously, and obviously I've never done it before. I've written scripts, but I've never written a comic book. So, I have to keep apologizing to the artist and going, sorry, I'm an idiot and I'm making your life harder, but I'm figuring this process out.
1 Inch Bicep says, I storyboarded a comic for Without Your Head and asked Neil to spell check it for me, and that was the end of that.
Meaning he did not hear back from them?
Did not hear.
That's not good. You got to get back to your people.
Little Movie Perp says, I'd read a Vito script.
I have a bunch of scripts.
I heard you had a script for Star Wars Episode 9.
I have an Episode 9 script that I'll check how long it is.
That's what she said.
I know exactly what happens, and I've written like half of it. Do I still have Final Draft on here? Yes. Because I still want to. For a period of time, I was trying to be some sort of like script writer. And out in LA, they have all these things where it goes, send us your script, send it to Warner Brothers. We're going to pick 10 of you idiots to be part of the Warner Brothers whatever team, the next generation of writers. But then every one of them is always like, explain your diversity journey. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, well, being a fat Italian kid isn't the easiest thing in the world. Let me tell you. And they're like, that doesn't count. Get out of here, you cocksucker. I know.
I'll let you claim Latino. I'll make you an honorary.
Well, as I always say, if you're trying to break into Hollywood, the best thing you can do is just pick an identity and run with it. You gotta go, trans, gay. Well, they like gay. I can claim bisexuality. I'll go that way. I got no problem with that. But I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I've been writing scripts for a while, and I love writing. I mean, obviously, my channel, my biggest videos are the ones where I, took the time to write a script about how much I hate Star Wars.
Yeah, I heard that got demonetized or something like that lately.
Oh yeah, this was actually like last year. I don't remember exactly when it was, but yeah, they demonetized my dang Last Jedi review, which is not an offensive video. I guess they just have this thing where I think if you have any footage of like a natural disaster or what, I have one scene where I compare the rebels. I'm like, you're kind of acting like, and then I cut to Hitler giving a speech. And I think they just have stored on the YouTube database, if anybody uploads any footage of Hitler, shut it down.
Damn. Hey, Jordan, you're gonna have to scrub through our archives and fix that.
Let's see.
Get rid of all that Hitler imagery, sadly.
Yeah.
As much as we all like Hitler.
No, we got rid of the guy that liked Hitler. He's not on the show.
Carl's not here.
Wait, was Carl talking up Hitler? That's not good.
Yes.
That's really not good. Yeah.
It's a stick, so.
Yeah.
All right. He's doing a put on. All right, good.
It's part of his bit.
I mean, hey, he rebuilt the libraries or some shit. I don't know what Hitler did. I used to say he got the trains to run on time, but I think that was Mussolini and not Hitler.
Yeah. We were actually talking before you got on about jokes, because I was in another live chat where someone said that you can only joke about certain topics. Because I said, hey, you can joke about anything, right? Jokes are funny. You can make jokes about anything. And I was told that was wrong and I should leave the live chat.
Oh my god.
God.
Because I was a bigot.
Well, there is stuff like that, man. A lot of people don't want certain jokes to get made. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I understand if you make a really insensitive joke, if somebody's mom dies, you probably shouldn't joke about it in front of them or whatever else. But a lot of the times what they mean when they say, certain topics are off limits, they're usually talking about, this group is protected because of their identity, whatever else. And you're like, well, how come my identity is not protected? I feel bad when everybody goes, hey, fatty boom booms, you're going to eat a cheeseburger. But I just, I know it's fair game. What am I going to do?
You just cry into your McDonald's.
I just cry into my McDonald's. Yeah. And I go on with my day.
Yeah. I've always said you can joke about anything. Doesn't mean that every joke is funny. It doesn't mean every joke lands, right? No. Obviously, there's people that try it and fail spectacularly. You just got to own it when you fail. That's why.
Also, part of the problem is, and I've said this, like you saw people were going at James Gunn, being like, "How could you possibly have had this party or whatever?" He had some like party famously where it was like a child,
the pastor,
I don't know what
something.
You want to say. Yeah, like you dress up like a pedophile priest, and some of the girls were dressing up like little girls, and it's like, okay, it's like really offensive. I get it, but he was also, as I try to explain to people, I'm like, if you like the movies he makes, stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever else, like the reason that stuff's good is that he took time to like play around and figure out like what works, like comedians need time to try out all sorts of jokes and figure out, okay, this kind of joke works. This kind of joke pisses everybody off. And come to terms with, what kind of jokes work as, because he is a comedian, he makes funny movies. Guardians of the Galaxy is a funny movie. But people seem to think, no, you always have to be perfect. And if you ever do anything wrong, we're gonna get you. And it's crazy.
Basically, what Vito's saying, if the cost of Guardians of the Galaxy is one fake pedo party, Go for it.
It's more that you would not, because you would not have that without letting this guy take time to learn, what good jokes are, what bad jokes are, etc.
Yeah, you got to let them push the envelope, let them figure out how far you can go, where you can take it, what lands, what doesn't. Being a comedian is not saying things that are funny necessarily. Sometimes you got to develop, you got to work on your shtick.
Exactly.
That's why Vito is a professional idiot. I'm just a part-time idiot.
You can be a professional one day. Someday we'll make you a professional.
I'm trying.
But yeah, I mean, like whenever they go to like comedians, they're like, you have to apologize for this joke you made 20 years ago. And it's like, yeah, but he only got to where he is by testing the boundaries of good taste. And you can't be upset about that. You just gotta move on.
What I hate is when 20 years ago the joke was funny and then they still want them to apologize for it. Like, hey, remember that funny joke that everybody loved 20 years ago? We don't do that anymore. So please apologize for that.
Well, I mean, like the big one is they're like the time that they always bring up how, God, what's that movie with Jim Carrey? Animal Man.
Ace
Jim
Ventura.
Carrey, Ace Ventura.
Animal Man. I was like,
Jim Carrey in Animal Man, that famous movie. But they always bring up the fact that, there's a part where he finds out that somebody was a dude. And then he, gets all disgusted. He's like, oh my God, I kissed a dude. I can't believe it. And it's like, yeah, that's funny. Like, but that's how some people would react to finding out they slept with a dude that they thought was a lady, like you could, and then they'll go, it's like super transphobic or whatever. I'm like, I don't know. It's like that is true to life in some way. If you were expecting to have sex with a lady and you end up having sex with a man, like you might react in a negative way. I don't know, but you're not supposed to say that anymore. Now I'm going to get canceled.
Yeah, you got to keep those thoughts in your head.
I know. I'm not allowed to say anything.
They're gonna clip this, even though there's 8 people watching.
They're gonna clip us. That's how they get us.
Well, they've clipped us saying so many things already, so it's okay. We hit 1,000, so it doesn't matter anymore. Fucking YouTube royalty. Say what you want.
Ay. Other than that, did you see Black Panther?
No, but
I
Man
did.
Blinded did. So we're going to talk about Black Panther. We're going to give a review. Jordan, Vito, you have the floor because you guys saw it. I didn't.
Oh, no.
I think it's fine. Like, it's not a bad movie.
I'm more lukewarm on it. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad movie, but there's a lot of problems with this movie.
Yeah,
Too many problems.
The real thing is that it feels like Ryan Coogler probably didn't want to make this movie. I feel like. I don't know. I think he I think at some point he was like, this is exhausting. Let's just get it done. Because like there's parts that are just missing polish.
It feels like they repurposed the script. That's what it feels like, in my opinion.
That's what I said the other day, didn't I?
Yeah, but when you actually watch it, the plot leak doesn't do this justice at all. Like you have to actually watch it and see how things all come together in the context. Especially that whole Namor, his real name, where that comes from. Like that whole scene, in my opinion, they should have just cut that out because it makes no sense. Based on
some people were trying to say they liked it. It's weird.
But what we're told about his whole, like he loved his mom, right? And then he goes and he kills the Spaniards because they're slave traders. So it's like, why would you adopt this name that is not representative of you, right? You've seen your mom grow old. Right, you have some love. You love your people, right? That's why you killed the Spaniards. So,
right,
it's weird. I didn't like that. He should have just been called Namor. Like, what's the big deal?
Well, the part of the thing is, I mean, what do you call it? I mean, the conspiracy theory is, but it might be true, is that there's this thing where these characters, the copyright's going to run out at some point, right? Like right now, a lot of, like Winnie the Pooh just went public domain. So a lot of these studios are kind of freaking out and they're like, oh my God, we're going to lose these characters. We're going to lose. Superman's going to be public domain pretty soon. So, but the thing about public domain is it only applies to whatever was going on 80 years ago. So a good example is if Mickey or a good example would be Winnie the Pooh. In the original book, Winnie the Pooh is just, a golden bear or whatever. But if you wanted to make a Winnie the Pooh movie where he's wearing a red shirt, Disney can go, we own Winnie the Pooh wearing a red shirt because that didn't appear until 1960. So by creating a version of Namor, which is, Mayan, where we don't reference Atlantis, it's called something else, where, his origin, again, his name is not even Namor, it's Namor or whatever. They're basically,
even though no one calls him that in the movie but him.
Right. It's possible that they're trying to create a version of the character that will be protected under copyright for another 80 years. So you'll be able to use, and then it'll create all these problems where, like, if somebody does want to take Namor and they're like, well, I can use the old one, right? They'll be like, yeah, but you can't have him wear a necklace. You can't have him do that. We own all that stuff. It's very complicated.
Well, yeah, I mean, it watching it, I guess that would make sense, but I still feel like the problems of his character is that he's not really a villain in the movie. Like, you could tell
I thought
that
he was an idiot.
I didn't think I think he's more sympathetic, even though, I mean, his motivations is kind of like, they're like, I don't see why they were, had that antagonist toward him, right? Like, what was the point of it, right? Because they're both on similar ideologies, right, of how they're running their people and their whole, I guess, city or country. So it was like, why not just join up?
Well, because the problem was, and again, I think he's an idiot, is he's like, we should join together. Also, let me kill this 19-year-old. And she's like, well, I kind of want to team up with you, but I don't want to do that. And the smart thing to do would go, all right, well, that's a fair compromise. I guess I don't have to kill that 19-year-old. But for some reason, his character is so dumb where he's like, no, we have to kill her because she might make another metal detecting machine. I'm like, bro, take that deal. Because the whole
he doesn't even talk to Ironheart.
Yeah, at no point does he attempt to understand her or be like, hey, are you against my people or not? When, he probably could have cleared that up pretty quick.
Yeah, his whole motivation is just it felt like they were trying to make him passive because he was going to be a hero down the road. Because even how we can't say spoilers, right?
No, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, even how he kills the queen, like he doesn't even really kill the queen. He floods the chamber, right? And then they're swimming, but she was still alive. And she saved Ironheart, which that's what caused her to drown. Right. So it was like, I don't know. And then he has a scene with her multiple times where it's like, I'm going to kill you. I really want to kill you if you mess up. Right. So it's like, why not make him more of a, like, I'm going to stick a spear in you and kill you and show all your people. Right. Like, hey, look at your fucking leader. Right. And this is,
you can't make brown people evil like that. Blinded. Come on.
It's just, to me, he shouldn't have been the villain. Pick somebody else. He could be in the movie, maybe. But, and then on top of that, too, like, he's dealing, like, the whole reason why this movie is going on is because of T'Challa, because he's the one that opened up Wakanda's border. And they don't ever mention that. Like, there's no consequence of his action, right? But he's dealing with the Queen and Sherry, like, hey, this was your decision. And it's like, well, it's not their decision. It was T'Challa's. So
you want to blame Boseman, who's dead?
Yeah, I mean, well, it technically is that, right?
Yeah, but they're not gonna do that in the movie.
They're not gonna do it, but still, it, like, you could tell that it's like there's a lot of pieces in the script where it's like, this feels like it was repurposed. Like, T'Challa was supposed to be here. It was supposed to be him and Namor. Because even the whole plot of them trying to figure out the herb, like, that is like, that should have been either in the beginning of the movie, because once you get to the ending and you see Shuri's arc, you're like, her arc is identical to T'Challa's in Civil War. Like, the whole revenge story. So it's like you're retreading the same ground in a sequel when we should be moving on and doing other stories. So that was like the most disappointing part of the movie for me.
Why didn't
Yeah.
she turn blue after she drank the new herb?
No, because
Well,
it's
it's
different herb.
Yeah,
You
it's
thought
a
it was the
different herb.
same one. There's two different ones.
Yeah, but doesn't Namor's herb turn those people blue?
Yeah, but she didn't drink
Yes.
that one.
She drank the Black Panther one, the purple
Also,
one.
are they not blue underwater? Did they ever explain
Yes.
that?
Yeah, they're not. I think it's like
I mean, it makes
it's
sense.
like a hydro suit or something, because they have to actually use the water to breathe, and then they also have that thing on the mask full of water.
Okay, well, that was interesting.
Yeah, it's not really explained, but like you kind of pick it up in the visuals.
Yeah, I get it.
So what
Yeah,
would you give it
there's-
out of 10?
I mean, I said that maybe on a bad day it would be a 6, but like there was some parts that were good. Like at least the ending, I feel like, or the post credit scene, is probably the strongest part of the movie, because it was, it felt like it was kind of sad, where it's like, yeah, like he's gone and this is his son, and his son doesn't have a father, but he's the next in line. And just seeing Shuri's reaction, like, oh, I'm an aunt and I can, he's going to carry on a legacy instead of.
And also, I
Only-
still have a family, because her whole
Yes,
family is
family
dead
is
at that
dead.
point.
Yes, that's also a good point.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, that part was like, it was emotional, and the emotional parts of the movies, I think, are decent, but it's mostly in the beginning and the ending of the movie, while everything else is more dealing with the Namor, and then there's the stuff with Val and Ross, and it's like, and then you have Ironheart. There's so much plot threads going on, where it's like, this feels like a typical Marvel movie. They're trying to set up all these different threads, but then they also have a very emotional and weighty story, because, well, someone did die. people did care about Chadwick Boseman, and they do care about T'Challa, and it's felt, right? He's missing from the movie. That's the most unfortunate part.
Yeah, it is true that the beginning and that's the thing, is that as I was watching the movie, and it's clear that like he paid more attention to like those emotional scenes, because again, I thought all the action was kind of like terrible.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? It kind of felt again like, yeah, that he didn't really want to make this movie necessarily, and that was the weird thing, was that he was kind of like, yeah, that he was like, well, I kind of have to make it for some reason, but it just feels like he wants to be making something else, something more serious, because those moments were really good and really serious, but then the action and the other stuff, I was like, oh man, this just looks bad. I don't even think again, I was talking about this on my show, that like he started off as like an indie director making like these kind of deep introspective film, Fruitvale Station. And I was like, I think he should just kind of go back to that. Like he'd probably, it's kind of sad that these guys get stuck making these Marvel movies when they're kind of like, I don't even know if I want to be making this.
Yeah,
I'm sure that check eases their mind just a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I also think he probably stuck around because he wanted to honor Chadwick.
Yeah. Which is good. I support that.
Yeah,
so you don't
it's a
support
mixed
the
bag.
recast?
I don't support what?
The recast T'Challa?
I don't think you need to. I don't really get that. Why do they need to recast T'Challa? Like, what are people?
So you
I
can't
think
now.
Well,
Yeah.
some people, I guess, are trying to say that, like, I don't know, like young black kids are being denied a strong black role model or something. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with Shuri? She's fine. That's the weird thing, is like, somebody pointed out, they're like, if Shuri was a guy and became Black Panther, would people be as upset about it? If it was like Black Panther's brother becoming the Black Panther?
I mean, you wouldn't have the outrage mob, but I still think it would be a valid criticism, because you killed off the character halfway through his arc.
Yeah. I mean, it is weird.
Is Shuri being a guy the same insufferable character as she was as a woman?
I never thought honestly, in the previous movies, she was like comic relief. so she was like joking around and stuff. But now she's like a way different character, and I think it works really well. Like she really made this character work, I thought.
Yeah, she's definitely evolved as a character. Just because again, there's a lot of stuff that she has to deal with in this movie besides her whole family dying, right? So
yeah.
So what would you give it out of 10, Vito?
I mean, I gave it an 8. But that's, I don't know. I could maybe lower it to like a 7.5 in more retrospect. That again, but the thing is, I never felt bored during the movie. So I just give it a solid 8. Like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed sitting through it. There were parts where I went, this is really rough. And I do not, I wish this looked better. But I thought all the plot was fine. And again, the acting was really good. So all that really worked for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds about what I would expect the movie to be based on what I was told.
Yeah.
Although when I was told it, I was told, yeah, the funny spirit ladies fight the funny underwater Mexicans on the bridge. I was like, what? It was real weird trying to parse through what I was told, but I made it work. I got like 13,000 views on that article. With the
oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy because when we did the stream, I only got like 100 views on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube numbers have, I don't know. I've personally been getting bad YouTube numbers. I don't know exactly why. Then again, I have no idea what I'm making anymore on YouTube.
You're making quality content, Vito. Quality content.
I'm trying. I have one video essay in the pocket I got to finish. I might just need to get back to making video essays, but they're just like such a time suck.
Yeah.
Like an insane amount of time suck.
And then when they don't hit, it's like all that time wasted. Versus
yeah, dude. I made that Boba Fett video, and I'm like, hopefully this does pretty good. And it hit like 130,000, which sounds good, but it does not pay for all the fucking work I put into it, you know?
Yeah, that's why I don't do any effort.
Yeah.
Because anything is a positive. When you do zero effort, any view is a positive. One view, well, that's a return on my investment, which was nothing.
Yeah. Well, what do you call it? And yeah, in terms of like expending effort, I'm like, I think I would just rather save that for, making comic books and writing scripts and shit. It's like, why waste that effort on YouTube videos when I can just make trash YouTube videos, which are, fine, movie reviews and shit, and get 20,000 views or 10,000 views. I don't know. We'll see. The only way I would go back to doing like full-time video essays is if I could really build up the Patreon again and be like, listen, I'll do this if it's like guaranteed money from my audience, but I can't rely on like hoping it hits and hoping I make ad revenue.
Well,
I don't think anything's ever going to be as big as like shitting on the Star Wars sequel trilogy. That was like a weird time in a culture where everybody was like, fuck Star Wars. I want to watch every video about how much I fucking hate Star Wars. And you're like, all right.
Yeah.
But that's kind of over, I think. I think people are finally over it.
Yeah. Well, if you stop fighting with all the black comic creators on Twitter, maybe you'll get more Patreons.
Bro, did you see that ISOM art book?
Yeah, I seen that.
Isn't that like, that's like actually the first time I've been like, wow, what an asshole. Like, how do you sell a 16-page art book
pamphlet
for $75? Yeah, it's barely even a book. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How could you do that?
Speaking of the Star Wars, have you been paying attention to Andor, Vito?
Yeah, I like Andor. Some people really love Andor. I'm like, no, this is good. I don't know if it's the best thing I've ever seen, but I definitely really like it.
Yeah, it's not the best Star. I mean,
it's good
enjoyable.
Though.
Yeah,
it's very good.
I think it's the best Star Wars Disney property.
Yeah, I was gonna catch myself because I'm like, it kind of is because I'm watching it and it doesn't have all the hallmarks of Star Wars, but there's something there. I can't really describe, but yeah.
Yeah, so we got episode 10. Obviously, we're going to go with the spoilers, but we had the big prison breakout. And it turns out after everything's all said and done, the planet is surrounded by water. And Andy Serkis can't swim. So he gets left
Oh
behind.
that
my
was a great-
god!
That was a great little moment. It was really funny, but kind of sad.
I don't even know if we're. I think is that the last we're going to see of Andy Serkis? It just kind of ends with that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I
think,
wouldn't be surprised.
I would think that's like a pretty interesting way to just end it. Like, because it's like, hey man, that's a thing in life. You know a guy, and then suddenly he's not there.
That's it. No, I think we're going to get one more scene with Andy where the Empire.
Yeah,
comes
he'll probably
back.
get interrogated or something and then killed.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about.
I can't again though, man. I wish they would just like write him off. Like, I think it would be powerful.
They're going to turn him into Snoke.
Oh
Yeah.
god. Oh god.
After he gets the little headphones of crying children in his ears, fucking turns into Snoke.
Oh, that was pretty fucked.
Yeah, we were talking about that last week. That was fucked up to an extreme degree. And then the doctor was just so callous about it, just so like matter of fact, yeah, we killed a bunch of people and recorded their children's dying. Here, listen.
Part of me is like, I kind of want to hear it. I kind of want to.
Oh god.
I want to be like, because I'd be like, this sounds good. Turn it up. Try to fuck with them, but I don't think it works that way.
I'm surprised we haven't got more memes out of it. I would imagine people, when he's putting the headphones on and then you start playing Barney music.
You have a very good point. that is a very memeable scene. Just take songs you hate and just go put it on.
It's like, now we're going to listen to it. And then you put Nickelback. It's like,
honestly, that's the kind of scene where I go, I wonder if they thought about that. I wonder if they're like, listen, we got to make like a meme scene so everybody, because that's a good one. There's one where there's a couple of them. What do you call it? There's one where Harry Potter goes into the Chamber of Secret. I don't know, whatever. He's like, oh, should I open it? And it's like, yeah. But then he opens it up and starts playing some horrible rap song, and everybody grabs their ears. And I'm like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Isn't there a Breaking Bad one or something? The King of the Hill one. That have you ever seen that one where Bobby's listening to he's basically listening to prank phone calls on his headphones, and then Hank goes, "Let me hear that," and he rips it off and he goes, "This is just potty noises." So then people always put some crazy music there.
I've never seen that one. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, all in all, I thought this was a good episode. We had a plan. I was wondering what the hell they were doing, like when he was cutting that pipe.
Yeah, I assumed he was trying to release something. I didn't know exactly what.
Well, they were talking about stopping the elevator. So at first I thought he was like cutting the electronics, like they were waiting for it to go down, then he would cut it, and that would cut the electricity to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then the water started coming out. I'm like, what the fuck? Why do they want the water to come out?
Well, he needed to electrify the floor to overload the system.
Yeah, when it happened, then I was like, oh shit, that makes so much sense now.
It's lucky that worked out for him.
Yeah. Too bad they didn't have circuit breakers in Star Wars. Like, hold on.
Yeah, that would have. He's like, fuck, that didn't work at all.
Yeah, so they flood the floor. The fucking circuits go out. Everything's dead. Then apparently their power supply is run on a dam. And if they close it, it's going to take them months to open it. So I don't know why they have a close button.
Right.
Okay. Why they didn't shoot the two guys? Those guys were like in charge of the whole prison. They were in charge of like killing all the prisoners. And they're like, we're going to let you two live. We're going to shoot all these random guards. But you two guys, you get to live.
You guys are going to be just fine. Well, they had to live someone to tell the tale, of course.
Well, they had all those guards cowering behind that door.
Yeah, they were. And they did absolute jack shit.
What were they supposed to do? There's like 5,000 guys and like 6 of them. Fuck that.
I mean, there should have been more guards. I mean, that was their fucking fault.
Well, because they thought the electrified floor was that good, you know? That was their great mistake.
You should always have plan B. Oh, man.
Yeah, but that's what the whole point of the show is, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
Andor
I know.
They're so overconfident that we're just going to go in there and fucking breeze
And
through
just
this.
fuck them up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the Empire, Palpatine being so sure that he's completely won and that everybody's just cowering in fear. And it's like, no, We can rebel. It's a good theme.
Yeah. Then we got the Mon Mothma side story where the gangster comes. He's like, "Hey, I'll move your money for you, but you know your daughter, she's about the same age as my son."
Yeah, I've been kind of
Mhm.
like ignoring the Mon Mothma stuff for some reason. I'm just kind of like, I don't really care about what's happening to this lady.
Yeah, it feels kind of. I mean, it makes sense for the show. Yeah, it does feel forced. Yeah.
What
I
I
don't
thought was
know. It
forced
works.
was
You got to have it, I guess.
I thought making that one rebel lady her cousin was a little forced. I was like, oh, she's
Yeah.
related. Like,
Well,
Yeah,
that means
that
that
came
lady
out of
is
nowhere.
definitely gonna die. I guarantee.
well, the dude that escapes the prison with Andor, he gets to live because he's actually in Rogue One.
Mhm.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's the guy that breaks him out of prison at the beginning of Rogue One.
Oh, weird. And then does Andor kill him? Is he the guy Andor kills at the beginning of Rogue One?
No,
Remember Andor or not kills, but like shoots a guy because the guy's like.
no, because he shows up twice in Rogue One. This
Okay,
guy.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, he's not like a major character in Rogue One. He's just like, oh, he's there. So that's why it was a surprise when he showed up in this. Then, of course, the third little subplot was Luthen is meeting with one of the ISB members. Apparently, this guy was handpicked by the rebels to infiltrate the Empire and has been living a double life this whole time, secretly rising through the ranks.
Oh my god.
And they've been sacrificing rebels in order for this guy's career to advance. Like, hey, we're going to feed you information, kill off some of our guys so you could capture them and quote unquote learn our plans as rebels. So you'll rise up in the ranks.
Yeah, and they got him pretty high, but then he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't like it. It makes me sad or something. I don't even fucking know.
Yeah, then dude's like, well, you got a kid. He's like, oh, what's that supposed to mean? What do you think it means? We're going to fucking kill your family if you don't play ball.
Yeah, fuck you, buddy.
He's like, we're not allowing you to leave. We made an oath.
I'm on board for that plan. Yeah. The rebels, well, that's the cool thing is that the rebels aren't perfect because the rebels were always portrayed as like, oh, it's such a magic time for the rebels. And you're like, I kind of want to see you guys go hard. You know, what do you guys do when you're not all running around with droids and going on magic adventures? It's like, oh, sometimes really bad shit happens. It's like, well, all right, let's see some of that.
Well, not only are the rebels going hard, but they tell you that there's different factions within the rebellion, and some of them are racist. They're like, hey, those rebels just like humans. They don't like aliens, and those rebels over there are like, they're kind of cool with fascism. They just don't like the emperor, right? And like those rebels, they're just fucking hippies. We don't deal with those guys.
I will say, somebody brought up, they're like, why is the Andor prison like no alien guys? And I'm like, that is kind of interesting. I wonder if, but the Empire's all humans.
Well, they segregated them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, there might be like an only alien prison because they have different needs or something.
Well, it was based on planet, I think. I think that's what they said.
They were probably maybe just all taken from one planet, so who knows?
Maybe the aliens are working on a different part of the Death Star. They're like, hey, we need people with small hands to do this thing. And
I just think you could have had like one alien guy, one or two like green skin weirdos. Should be like, there's some of those guys here too.
I was surprised there was no prison gangs. There was no Mexicans in there.
There's no way to have a gang. You don't get to hang out. They don't have like a yard. They don't have an exercise
work
area
and sleep.
They had the shower. They had the little spray.
Did how long had Andy Serkis been there? Did he say? Hadn't it been like 10 years?
He did
20
say,
years?
Yeah. It was a while. Yeah.
He's like, I'm getting out. But
no one's getting out.
No one's getting out. They transferred him, man. Oh shit!
It makes sense, but it also is kind of weird because they transferred him, and then I think it was Mad Max was like, well, when he gets to the new prison, why doesn't he just tell people, hey, I was supposed to go free? They basically just took me from prison A to prison B.
I guess maybe because prison B doesn't give a shit. I don't know.
But who's to say that didn't happen though? They didn't really. Explain.
I would just assume that they would trump up charges on the way.
Yeah, they could have just
Yeah.
like made something else up, or maybe just
Yeah,
transfer
make
him
up
to a
some
new
bullshit.
prison. And I don't know. I don't know what was they were planning to have happen.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it was also that this was like a new situation, so maybe it was the first guy. I was wondering, maybe there's other guys this happened to, but none of us are getting out, man.
Yeah, but they get out. Another thing that I thought was weird was when they all got to the edge and they looked over at the water. Why did they assume that they could reach land by swimming?
Well, they clearly did. I don't know. I don't know how far out they were from land. Could they not see land from where they were?
Well, when they did the wide shot, you couldn't see any land. It was all water. And then
Well,
they just showed them.
it was a wide shot from above, though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They didn't show any land.
Well,
then,
otherwise they must have been able to see land because otherwise
Yeah.
who knows even what direction to swim in. But they were all swimming the same way,
Yeah.
so somehow they knew where the shore was at.
I thought they were going to get there. There was going to be a ship, like a spaceship. And then there, because the one that transported them in. So then I thought there was
Yeah.
going to be like a fight. Like we can only fit like 30 people.
Let me on,
suck.
damn it! Yeah, that would not be good.
Oh my
Guys
God.
hanging on the ship as they're flying away. But
No, I think I wonder if it's just gonna move on though, because like that's kind of the thing with this show is that it just kind of moves on. It went from the heist to immediately now I'm in prison, which was kind of cool that there's like no time to breathe.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's completely unrelated. It's just like he randomly got arrested under a different name.
But it was unrelated, but it was kind of related too, because the whole reason that they ramped up all the charges and everything was because of the heist. So he got away from the heist and then got arrested for something else.
Yeah,
which
that's
was
true.
because the heist caused it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I thought that was good. I think Andor episode 10 was the best episode so far.
Yeah,
it was
definitely
really
the
good.
most exciting. The heist kind of like was not as exciting as the build up to the heist.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be crazy, and then I was like, yeah, this isn't really that interesting.
Yeah,
But
and then that one guy turned on them. I was like, oh, that was dumb. I
Yeah.
didn't even have a brother. Oh, really? No one checked up on that before you told the story to everybody?
yeah, and also it was like, man, you like hung out with those guys for that long just for what? Yeah.
Mhm.
I was just trying to steal some money the whole time. And you're like, all right. That's stupid.
I just want to know what's going to happen in the next 2 episodes. That's going to be like the most interesting
Something
part.
big's gonna happen to Mon Mothma. Like they've been building to that all season. Like something has to happen. Someone in her family's gonna get killed, or she's gonna get found out. Because at some
Or I think
point,
her husband's going to expose her.
maybe. No, I don't think so. You think so?
I think he's going to get killed.
Yeah.
I think he's going to try to expose her. And then Mon Mothma's going to tell the gangster, well, you could have my daughter, but you got to kill the husband.
Because he's acting too kind of like stupid right now, where it's like he has to know she's talking with this guy too much. He's got to get suspicious or something.
Yeah, he's getting cucked pretty hard.
Yeah.
He's getting hella cucked.
Uh,
He's like, wait a minute, am I getting cucked? Sorry, bro. We've been cucking you. Oh man.
that would be a Disney thing to do.
That would not be a good episode.
It's going to be the whole episode, just a discussion of what it is and why it's okay.
It's okay to cuck.
But no, I thought it was a
Whatever
good
feels
episode.
right.
Hey, whatever you do behind closed doors is your own business.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's what matters.
As long as it's legal.
Keep it clean. Keep it legal. Yeah, I've been enjoying that show. I don't know what else they do, but I haven't watched Tales of the Jedi. Should I watch that?
I have not watched that. No. I'm not even going to.
I heard it was good, but I haven't watched it.
Dude, it's weird though, because it feels like everybody's just burned out on like normal, boring Star Wars shit. But Andor, we're
Yes.
like, yeah, this is like finally something a little different.
Which
It's
is
the same
funny.
with Marvel. I'm like done with like regular. I'm like, it's got to be like a little weird or different, or I'm just not gonna care.
Yeah.
But it's funny because this is so different that everyone's complaining, right? They're like, this is not what I want in my Star Wars. I
Which
want
is
it completely
stupid.
different, but
Oh my
exactly the
God.
same.
Yeah, the
Right?
people
Ugh.
complaining have bad taste, and should remove themselves from the gene pool.
Ooh.
'Cause they're
I
gonna make-
always fucking hate when people bring up that counter argument. It's like they give us something different. That's what you've been complaining about, and then, oh, why are they giving us something different? What the fuck? It's like, oh my god, like just shut up, please. If it's
Yeah,
not
well,
for
it's
you,
the
just
whole-
move on.
It's the whole I want something different. No, not like that.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, and this is
Well, that-
actually good. It's competent, at least, right? So
And it doesn't even seem like it's necessary to watch, right? Like if you skipped Andor
Yeah.
because you didn't like it, I don't think he would be like lost in the next Disney property for Star Wars.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's not like a forced watch. It's like it's like a standalone thing. Honestly, it doesn't even need to be Star Wars. If you took all the Star Wars out of it, it would be still a good show.
All the what Star Wars? There's barely Star Wars in it.
Right,
barely,
which is
yeah.
why it works so much. Anytime they like start adding Star Wars shit, I'm like, stop it, knock it off.
Yeah, we don't need those stormtroopers. Bring back those other guys from episode 1.
Yeah. And that's what it's sad to see, like, you know, all these guys who all they do is like make videos complaining about Hollywood and being like, oh, they don't have any original ideas, and I'm like, well, why don't you make some videos about how Andor is different and whatever? And I don't know if you saw Geeks and Gamers, you saw that thing I clipped where he's like, oh, this is just more woke Disney putting and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then it was because, you know, whoever plays Andor is like Latin American or Hispanic or something. And I'm like, that's not how that works. You don't get to complain about that. That's just the actor. Like, what are you even complaining about?
There are no space Mexicans.
Oh, it's so fucking woke in the message. And I'm like, no, it's not. You're fucking weird.
I mean, I agree that they probably picked that character over the other characters because he is Latin and they wanted some Latino representation. But the show is good. It's not like it is not woke.
But I mean, Rogue One had some diverse, like that group.
Yeah,
Like the only one that was white was the girl.
Yeah, and it wouldn't make sense to do her story because she joined the Rebels like super late.
Right.
There really isn't anyone else. I mean, I guess you could have done like
Donnie
Andor
Yen's
was
character.
Andor
Danny
was,
Yen.
Yeah, but he was kind of like a one-note character, honestly.
Yeah, he was lame as hell.
Hell no. Donnie Yen's character was the best.
I follow the way of the Force, man. And I'm like, yeah, I know. You're like a little space Chinese guy.
I'm trying to remember. Wasn't he gay in the movie? Because he had his friend? Or was that just like...
I think you're reading into it a little too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just feel like him and his buddy were gay. Just had strong vibes.
That's your head canon?
Yes. It makes sense.
Yeah, I think it works, you know, like because he was pretty much the second lead of Rogue One. I did say, like, when they were originally like pitching what the show was going to be, I was like, why are you making a show about that guy? And now I'm like, well, he is a good, and I still say, why are you making a show about that guy? But like, honestly, he's such a good actor, and like, it's like, oh, I guess you can make it him. But if it had been like a random rebel guy, it would have been fine too. I guess they just wanted to connect it or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, probably. It's Star Wars at the end of the day, so they got to connect it somehow.
Yeah. I guess my thought was, I'm like, well, nobody's going to see it because they're like, oh my God, the guy from Rogue One's back. You know, I was like, it's not a good like marketing tool, but it definitely doesn't really matter because the show's just good.
Yeah, the show.
I also feel like this got delayed a lot. Like this was announced back in like 2018.
Yeah, all the Star Wars projects feel like super late.
Yeah, this should have come out like right after Mandalorian. That's what it feels like.
They told them. I think there was like news recently where whoever's in charge of Disney went to like Lucasfilm, went to Kathleen Kennedy. It was like, stop announcing things. They're like,
oh
what do you
yeah,
mean?
they.
And he's like, because like half of them aren't even coming out. Like they did like a whole promo video for Rogue Squadron where like Patty Jenkins came out. She's like, I'm so excited for this movie. Yeah, on the tarmac. My grandpa was a fucking fighter pilot or some shit. I'm like, I don't give a shit about that. And I don't even think that show's getting made now.
Yeah, I don't think
movie supposed to be. Yeah,
they have fucking 7 untitled movies announced, and it's like I think in the last 3 weeks they announced 2, and then one of them got canceled. So it's like, bro, like we don't know anything about these projects, and you're announcing them and canceling them. It's like nobody cares. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's because they're woke. If those projects weren't woke, they wouldn't.
You got to get rid of the wokeness, and then we'll be good.
man. I mean, if they, I don't know, fast track that old Republic movie, but like it has no director attached, it just has a script. So it's like, what are you doing? Like you're just announcing that we have a script for something, and then you don't have anybody attached to it. So oh man, Lucasfilm is such a mess. Oh my god.
Speaking
I hope they don't
Star
mess
Wars
up
projects. Speaking
Indiana Jones.
Of additional Star Wars projects planned, one of our other topics is Studio Ghibli has a Star Wars project. You guys heard
Yes.
about this?
I didn't see it. I did not see
I
it.
did not know about this.
It came
Or
out
actually,
today.
no. Wait, yeah, didn't they? I guess they're making a Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
there was a big thing where people were speculating it was going to be a movie, it was going to be this and that, and then it turned out to be a lame little
Short.
So is it only going to be a short?
Yeah.
Yes. It's not long. It's on Disney Plus right now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already out. Okay.
Yes.
It's Grogu and the Dust Bunnies.
Yeah, it's like hand drawn.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah. Apparently,
Yes.
it was the 3-year anniversary since Grogu was invented.
I do love me some Grogu.
And I guess they wanted the original point was this was supposed to like coincide with that, and then it got delayed, and then they just put it out. I was excited when I heard Studio Ghibli is going to do Star Wars. I was kind of excited. I was like, "Oh, this is a good topic. We can talk about it." I love Studio Ghibli movies. How are they going to make it without Miyazaki? He don't direct no more. His last movie's already been announced. And then today they're like, "Oh no, it's just a stupid little short."
It's like 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's like,
god.
Oh, shit, it's really that short? Is it? And
Yes.
it's on Disney Plus.
Yes. It's like the first thing you see on Disney Plus.
Oh my god.
Bianca says finally a good anime Star Wars show, even if it's short.
Well, I mean the what was the thing they did with all the anime studios that came out last year? What was that called?
Star
It
Wars
wasn't
Visions.
Visions, yeah. Like that wasn't that bad. Some episodes at least.
I didn't watch that either. Maybe
Yeah, I like the
should.
first episode. You don't need to watch all of them. Just watch the ones that people are like, this is the best one. Because some of them are kind of just like, this is too anime. It's not really in the middle. It doesn't even feel like Star Wars. So
I don't know what they should do with Star Wars because I'm just like I do keep looking at it and being like, I just don't care about any of this shit.
I think
other than Andor, they gotta but like Andor feels like I don't think they can do more stuff like Andor. It's kind of like
no.
Yeah.
Myself in comics says, wait, it's not Miyazaki. It's going to be crap. Well, Miyazaki's last movie was 2014. Then he announced he was doing some movie that was going to be his last one. And it was supposed to come out in 2020, but it hasn't come out yet. He hasn't been directing for a while.
Yeah.
Some of the original animators from Studio Ghibli moved off to their own studio too. So then they forced his son to like direct 3 movies. Dude's like, I don't want to direct movies just because my dad's into anime.
Yeah, and he's also like
That's
really
crazy.
bad. He's also really bad at it, which is funny.
Did he do the first 3D one?
Yeah.
The first. Oh, okay. Yes, I heard that was terrible.
He did that one, and he did 2 other ones that were pretty bad.
Oof. That's really sad. I mean, at least he doesn't care. Because if he did, that would hurt.
Yeah. I mean, he probably cares somehow. Oh, yeah, the Studio Ghibli thing is like 2.5 minutes. What a waste of everyone's time. What's the point of this?
Like I said,
how much did they pay for this? It looks terrible.
Too much, probably. But
Too
yeah,
much. I mean, it's Lucasfilm. Oh my god.
they needed to write some stuff off before the end of the year.
That's what it feels like, yeah.
Yeah, Miyazaki's son sucks so bad. Yeah, poor guy. Could you imagine being in that shadow?
Yeah, and he's probably like, man, I don't even want to direct it. I mean, I guess I'll try, but it's gonna. Yeah, I feel bad for him.
I would have been like, could you direct it and just slap my name on it? And just tell people
Yeah,
Ghost
that'd be
director.
easier. It'd be less work for me.
Yeah. So what I was really excited about didn't happen. We just got a stupid short, and It's a waste of everybody's time.
That's how they get you.
Mm.
That's how they get you.
In sadder news, Kevin Conroy died.
Yeah,
that
this was
sucks.
sad. Oh man.
Vito says it was sadder that Gallagher died.
I didn't say that. Fucking Dick said that. I mean, like, let's not pick which death is sadder. That's like fucked up, you know. You're like, it's sad that they're both dead, but clearly Kevin Conroy is more important than Gallagher. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't even. I'm worried that they're gonna get like a celebrity to replace him, but hopefully they won't because they make so much Batman shit that it's probably not worth doing that. But it's just like, man, you look at like the Mario movie and you're like, why is Chris Pratt Mario? Just get like anyone who isn't Chris Pratt to do it.
I didn't think Chris Pratt as Mario's that bad, at least so far. I'm not like
You mean the little
big
bit
hater.
that we heard?
Yeah, I'm just more
Bro, he just sounds like
upset
Chris
that he
Pratt.
didn't. He does, but like he didn't even say the line that Mario would say. It just sounds. He's like, let's go. It's like, why not just let's go?
Yeah, he goes, let's go to the Mushroom Kingdom. I'm like,
Kingdom.
let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go. We all know the fucking line.
It was so weird.
With you. Let's go. He kind of like is doing a Mario voice.
Kind of. And then you hear Chris Pratt. And it's like, it's okay. I don't really care. I'll still watch the movie.
This is bullshit.
Oh, we're all gonna watch it. We know that. What was that Batman animated series that was canceled by WB?
Oh, it's not canceled. They're trying to ship it. Yeah, it's the Matt Reeves and
Is it called Caped?
Cape Crusader.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Yes.
It was because it's supposed to be a sequel to the animated
Well,
series.
actually,
right?
I think it's set in like the 50s.
Yeah, it's totally different. It just has the same art style because it's Bruce Timm.
Because when I heard about it, someone was like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be a sequel to the animated." I was like, "Well, maybe a prequel because it doesn't. It seems like an earlier era." I was just
It's
wondering
more of
if Kevin
spiritual
Conroy was going to voice
successor.
Batman.
He probably would have voiced it if he was still. They're gonna
Maybe.
have to replace him.
Yeah, I mean, he's still been doing Batman. He was Batman in the Multiverse game, that Multiverses game, and that was fairly recent. And then sometimes he appears here and there, so he was still doing the character. So, I mean, I don't know who they're gonna try to replace him with. I don't think they're going to. We're just gonna have different voice actors for Batman, which are usually lame. So,
Well, apparently Kevin O'Neill died too, according to Puma Fist here.
Which one's Kevin O'Neill?
No idea.
Who?
Some
You
guy.
know,
Yeah.
Kevin O'Neill, of course. Oh,
that guy.
I probably should know who it is, but I have no idea.
I wonder if they have enough Kevin Conroy clips to just fake his voice.
they could fake his voice.
They could definitely make an AI
Yeah.
model of it very easily, but it would be a little weird.
No one.
I mean,
Yeah,
it would be a
off.
lot weird.
It would be no weirder than Disney putting Grand Moff Tarkin back in the movies,
Yeah, but that is pretty weird too.
or what's her name, Leia.
Mm.
Yeah, that was bizarre. But I do love when they had young Luke. I mean, that was pretty. I mean, they kind of like saved themselves some trouble by having Mark Hamill there while they did it. You know, so it's kind of like he approves of it.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah. Mm.
Because they would have him like act it out, and then whoever's playing Luke would like mimic what he had done, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah, so sad day for Batman fans.
Yeah,
Sad
I mean,
day
he
for
is
America.
Batman. He is Batman, in my opinion.
He is the Bat. Yeah, it fucking sucks.
It's terrible, terrible. We're all sad here. But moving on. Have you heard about this Doom Eternal original soundtrack controversy, Vito?
I did see that, yeah. It's very bizarre.
So
You're like, why didn't you just pay that guy? Why? It sounds like it was like some crazy corporate guy who just like doesn't understand what he's doing.
all right, so Mick Gordon put this on Medium on the 9th. This is my full statement regarding Doom Eternal. says the statement is issued in response to id Software studio director Marty Stratton's Doom Eternal OST open letter published on Reddit on May 5th, 2020. Why did he wait like 2 years to fucking rebut
Yeah, that's
this?
what I didn't understand either. Yeah.
It might have been a legal thing, like he needed to make sure he was legally protected.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, but 2 years is still
2
like,
years is a long time, yeah.
I mean, he did come out like when this first started, when that Doom Eternal came out. So it's a little bit weird. But yeah.
He says Marty lied about the circumstances surrounding the Doom Eternal soundtrack and used disinformation and innuendo to blame me entirely.
Oh, actually, I think the reason he waited was because he was still trying to get paid.
Oh, okay.
They owe him money because they used more of his work than they were supposed to. And he was like talking to their lawyers and trying to get it sorted out. And then finally the lawyers were just like, fuck you. And he's like, all right, well, then I guess I have to do this. So that's what I think happened.
He says afterwards he offered me a 6-figure settlement to never speak about it. And as far as I'm concerned, the truth is more important. I'm sure if it was 7 figures, the truth would have took a hike. It says Marty's Reddit post severely impacted both my professional and personal reputation. In releasing this statement, I'm exercising my right to defend myself. It is a defense, not an unprovoked attack, issued with extreme reluctancy only after other attempts to resolve the matter have failed.
Yeah, there it is. So he was trying to resolve it in private, but their lawyers were like fucking him.
Yeah, it says this statement is not an excuse for a hate campaign. Acts of hate dished out online won't result in any positive change. In fact, it only makes things worse. And did a lawyer write this?
That's probably.
All right,
That's what it sounds like.
Points of note. My response is lengthy and detailed to prevent vague statements from turning into rumors and speculation. The statement is a direct response to Marty's false accusations, and I will not name anyone outside those mentioned in his open letter. Jeez, this is a lot of fucking shit. Go through all this. Damn. All right, basically, this guy got fucked. We'll put the link.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is like... I didn't realize...
Yeah, he's got a table of context. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah, but I actually read it. It was actually interesting. Because he clearly did get fucked.
Yeah, it is a very, very interesting read. Just way too long for the show. We'd be here all night.
Yeah.
Oof.
I'll go ahead and put it in the chat if you guys want to read it yourselves. And I'll definitely put it linked in the cutout of this when we do the separate video. But yeah, Doom Eternal. Basically, the guy's rebutting everything, saying, hey, what was said about me is a lie. We tried to resolve it. They didn't want to go for it. And here's all the list of things in which I was lied about.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Microsoft didn't step in to like course correct over those 2 years, especially if this was going on. Because it's like, I'm assuming that this is because he's like arguing with Bethesda lawyers, right? Like he's dealing with the whole of Bethesda, not just id Software.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, fuck. This is... I can't even scroll through the whole thing.
Yeah, well, normally I'd say like it's a bad idea to write something this long because most people will just skip it, but he really lays it out, and it seems like he's pretty clearly in the right.
Yeah, I agree. Normally it is. I think him writing it so long, there's going to be obviously people who are going to give you the TLDR, which is probably what you should wait for.
Well, I'm sure there's websites that have like posted a TLDR, you know.
Oh, George says, did you know that if you have Amazon Prime, you get free games? I did not know.
Yes.
I don't have Amazon Prime. So. Yeah, so Doom Eternal, the man got fucked. You could read it for yourselves. I didn't realize it was that long when I was like, hey, we could talk about this. And I didn't do my...
due diligence.
Due diligence.
I didn't prepare beforehand.
You're like,
so
we're not reading this. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
Boom says Kevin O'Neill was a British comic artist. He did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and Martial Law. It's probably why I never heard of him.
There's a lot of comic artists who have been like dying off. It's crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, we got one last thing on the agenda here. God of War Ragnarok launch. They're saying it is the biggest launch in the franchise history.
Ooh.
And we lost Vito.
And Vito's gone. He's like PlayStation. Oh, fuck that shit.
We lost Vito, but it's all right. This comes from GameIndustry.biz. God of War Ragnarok is already the biggest launch in the franchise's history. UK time tunnel. It will be the fourth number one for the series. GFK predicts. This is from Christopher Dean or Dream.
Mm. I'm not surprised. I'm definitely not surprised.
Have you played it yet? Have you got it?
No, I have not bought it yet. I'm trying to go through the series actually, so that's why I held off against it. But Bob was telling me about it, and I have a friend who also was playing it, and they're enjoying it so far. Which again, I'm not surprised at all. Like there was no shock that this was going to get 10s and 9s. It's PlayStation. It's Santa Monica. So,
I heard a few people saying that this game is worse, or at least the God of War prequel, the one that came before this, is worse than the old series.
I don't know who said that, but I think they're in the minority. That's a weird claim.
It's one of those gamers from Canada, like a Canadian.
Oh yeah, Ninja Kid already debunked this shit. So listen, I don't even think he has played the 2018. So I mean, I have my faults with the 2018, but like you can't compare the two. They're two drastically different games. And honestly, the way, because I know the ending of this game, it has nothing really to do with the originals besides his personality, like his archetype. So comparing them is just insane. I just think that's really stupid. They're two different games, genre wise. Right. So,
as you might know, you might be aware of, I have not played a single God of War game.
Yes, which is weird. Totally weird.
I do have some. I'm going to go through them at some point before I get Ragnarok, because I can't just jump right into Ragnarok. I got to know what the hell's going on. But the article says God of War Ragnarok has got off to a massive start in the UK, according to the charts firm GFK. It's on course to be the fourth game in the series to top the UK box charts, the firm says. There have previously been 12 God of War games released in the UK, including 6 main releases, 2 portable games, and a series of collections and remakes. The first game was released in July 2005 on PS2 and debuted at number 5, one of just 2 times the main God of War title didn't debut at number 1. The second game in the series, released 2 years later in May 2007, also on the PS2 and after the PS3 was released, reached number 1. The franchise moved to PS3 for God of War 3 in March 2010 and also topped the charts once again. I don't think it's weird that the first title didn't debut at number 1 because it was unknown property at the time, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm not sure how they marketed that first game because, I mean, Twisted Metal and David Jaffe, I don't know if it was like, oh, the creators behind Twisted Metal, right? So
I'm trying to remember. I can't even remember the marketing for God of War, the first one. The fourth mainline title, God of War Ascension, arrived 3 years later, but was held off number 1 by the Tomb Raider reboot from Crystal Dynamics. Everyone always says that that's a bad Tomb Raider game. How did it get
supposedly? So like how is this game topping the charts of PS5s? No one's buying PS5s apparently, right?
Yeah, that's true. They're just buying the game in anticipation of the PS5. But the series really stepped up with 2018's God of War reboot on PlayStation 4. It became the best seller at the time in terms of week 1 sales and also lifetime sales for this franchise. Damn, I didn't realize it sold that well. GFK boss Dorian Block told GameIndustry.biz in 2018, God of War ranked at number 5 by units and revenue on Sony formats. The only PS4 games bigger than God of War that year was FIFA 19, Red Dead Redemption 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and Marvel's Spider-Man. Now we are at the launch of God of War Ragnarok, and based on box sales alone, it will become the biggest God of War title launch in the UK. God of War Ragnarok will debut at number 1 and is the first cross-gen title in the series. Day 1 physical sales were already greater than any other 4-week launch sales for other titles in this franchise. Block adds that 55% of PS5 console sales this week are part of the God of War hardware bundle. Yeah, that's right. They got that big bundle. So we got the charts. Wow, the God of War collection on PS Vita was number 41. It doesn't surprise me because there wasn't a lot of Vita action.
No.
Ghost
And they
of
have.
Sparta.
They should just port that. This is why I complain about PlayStation. They don't have God of War 1 and 2 on PS4 or PS5.
No, they don't. God of War: Chains of Olympus. What is that? Is that like a spinoff?
PSP.
Yeah, I know, but what is?
Yeah. I guess it is like a spinoff, kind of.
The God of War trilogy. I'm assuming that's the first 3 games without Chain of Olympus.
Mm-hmm.
How could you have a collection? How do you have God of War collection then in the same year release God of War trilogy?
Yeah, like the spin-off PSP games. It's kind of like that Vice City Stories on PSP, where it's like it's kind of a spin-off, but it's also kind of the same game. So it's like a situation like that.
But I'm saying, how do you have the collection
Mm-hmm.
and the trilogy both released in the same year?
When was that?
2010. And they're both for PS3. Unless
That's
the collection,
weird. I want to look that up.
Yeah. Unless the collection doesn't have all the games or something. I'm looking this shit up right now on Wikipedia. God of War collection has God of War 2. Oh, that's what it is. It only has the first 2.
Oh, okay.
And
then they added the trilogy when the 3rd game came out in that same year. Really weird.
That's fucked up.
You would think they would just sell it as a trilogy instead of a collection.
I would think that they wouldn't even sold it as a trilogy because you had the collection. So if you missed the first 2 games, you get the collection. God of War 3 comes out. You get God of War 3. And then within the same year, they're like, hey, we'll just sell you all 3 games in one.
Yeah, and then you know what's weird too? The following year, they put the PSP games on PS3.
Yeah, God of War Collection Volume 2.
Yes, which is Origins Collection. Yeah, that's.
And then PS Vita got a God of War Collection too.
Mm-hmm. Which I assume is like the PS 3 version, because that's what they were doing at the time.
They're just really milking this franchise.
Yeah.
God of War 3 got a remastered. Why didn't they remaster the first 2 then?
No clue. It doesn't make any sense. I think that it was probably because it was the newest game, so they're just like, well, we'll just remaster it.
Well,
But we had Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, so Sony's always weird with this type of shit.
They should have gave us the fucking trilogy remastered.
Yeah, I think 1 and 2 are PS2 games, so I think that's going to be their excuse.
Vito says his router died.
Oof. Or he was just wanting to get out. He was just like, oh, fuck you guys.
Nah. Vito would
I'm joking.
Vito would have just been like, fuck you guys, and left. He wouldn't have made an excuse.
Oof.
Yeah. So it's a huge launch. I haven't played it. It looks good. I thought we were going to have Bob here because Bob played it, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to hear. I mean, he said, I'll give you a recap of what he said a little bit.
Excuse.
He said that for him, it was Game of the Year over Elden Ring. And he was enjoying it so far. So I don't know to what extent, but that's what he was saying.
All right. I'm sorry for you. This show has gone by quick because a lot of it hinged on Bob because he saw Black Panther.
Yes, Bob.
He played God of War. The Studio Ghibli thing was a nothing burger. He brought up the topic of the Doom Eternal soundtrack, so I'm sure he
wanted to talk about it. Yeah, because otherwise it was a slow week.
Yeah. The Studio Ghibli thing was a nothing burger. He wasn't here to discuss Andor. Finbar wasn't here to discuss
Black Panther 2.
It was a very sad state of affairs.
Yeah, where did they go? They got like knocked out. The UK government got them or something.
Bob was at 5:00. I talked to Bob because we both were on Max's stream talking about the Amico.
Mm.
And I'm like, he's like, all right, I'm going to see you later. I'm like, all right, Bob, I'll see you in 2 hours. Don't fall asleep. And
He
I
fell
guess
asleep.
he still fell asleep. Finbar had to take care of some things. So I
Okay.
knew he wasn't going to be here. But anyway, we got some polls. So the first poll, and I'll end it because it is in the chat. It was, who won yesterday's debate, Tony or Little Movie Perp? 19 votes, 79% said me. So
I didn't even realize it was a debate until you told me, and I just came in.
Well, it wasn't really a debate. They make it into it. Everything's a fucking debate online, right?
I guess. I mean, it was like the conversation. I was listening a little bit, and then I was like, I'm not understanding. So I was just like, I think I'll just tune out.
Well, we were watching the video that they did.
Yes.
And then he was in the chat, and I was like, well, if you want to come on and give your take on the things you guys are saying, right? Like,
yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But then he was like, oh, I was on gummies. I was high. I don't remember what I was saying. It's like, well, I didn't tell you to come in. Right? Congrats. See, there he's popping up again. Like, I didn't tell him to come. He didn't have to come in, right? He could have stayed out.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense based on what I was listening to.
This absolutely destroyed me. Can't wait to learn my lesson again next week.
Oof. Actually, we should debate him on Gotham Knights.
I
want to debate on Gotham. I know, but he loves it. So I was like, I'm confused. I want to hear his take on that. Yeah, post your reasoning in the chat since you're here and listening to us.
All right. So for the week, we obviously, again, thank you for all the support. Thank you for everybody listening, everybody watching the replay, everybody who's helped us. We are going to eventually do a 1K celebration. I know I've put it off, but I want to make sure everybody's here. I know Finbar was going to be busy.
Gary's not here.
I got to make sure Bob's awake. Gary's not here. He's been working
Ninja
hard.
Kitty.
Ninja Kitty. So I want to make sure everybody's here when we celebrate, because I want to go over some of our old videos, some of the hot takes that we've had over the course of this show. Watch some season 1 stuff. Watch some stuff like my first video with the terrible audio and the shitty visuals. So we're going to do that eventually. And I also wanted to wait till we were stabilized, because when we hit 1K, then immediately we had dropped back below 1K.
Yes.
We yo-yoed up and down for a little bit. And right now we're sitting at 1,022. So it's not bad. Not bad. All right. And then this is a topic that I thought we'd have Gary here to debate.
Everybody's missing. Fuck.
Yeah. Has gaming gotten stale? 121 votes. We had 3 choices. Yes, all games are samey. No, we have more variety than ever. And then AAA games have, but indies haven't. 34% said yes, all games. 31% said no. And 36% said AAA have, but not the indies. What's your take on this?
Oh, I agree with Tommy Uyumiko in the comments. He had the best take, in my opinion, because I don't know how you could say all games are samey. You know, it's just.
So Tommy Uyumiko says, call me when you completed every single game from your favorite system and era, as well as the dozens of modern games that tribute and improve upon those exact games.
Exactly. It's always the people who, and I keep saying this, it's not to offend anyone, but it's always the people who do not play games who are always saying, oh, gaming is so stagnant, it's so samey. And it's like, well, what have you been playing? Right? Give me some list of games.
Oh, Beefy says it's time to unsubscribe his 23 fake accounts.
Oof.
That's all right. We'll get 50 more. Gary says less is more. Less is more. Tommy's rebuttal is, motherfuckers be like, this era ain't as good as the old one with music too. And I look at them like, okay, you realize there are more brand new albums available of every single genre, including the oldest genres in existence, than there are of all the old albums combined, right? Like, how could a person even humanly make that judgment? You wouldn't have the time to compare what is out now. The plethora is too large, and new things come out every single day. This is true, and that's why I put the AAA distinction, because I understand, like to Gary's point. Yes, a lot of open world action games are kind of samey, right? There's a lot of
Sure,
Elden Ring
but
clones.
we would have to differentiate, because if we're saying AAA, are we going to count the big three too? Because the big three are the ones who are innovating compared to the third party. So
Right,
I
right.
don't even think that's fair.
No, but what I'm saying is, I shouldn't have put AAA. What I should have put was genre, because, like, yes, a lot of games, if you narrow it down to like say like 2D beat 'em ups, right? Yes, a lot of 2D beat 'em ups are samey, because that's all it is you go from left to right punching people, right?
This is a great take by one inch, because I also agree with this too. Not to, like, you know.
It's called getting old, blinded. We just want the crap we used to play. It's all we know. It'll happen to you one of these days. But that's
Yeah.
the problem. Gary's not like Gary's like, it's all the same. And then when you point out the stuff that he wants is available, it's also samey. He's like, no, it's not.
Well, the thing about Gary is he plays a lot on Switch, and he's enjoying the Switch. It's a modern console.
Yeah.
He's enjoying what Nintendo's putting out. So I don't understand his criticism.
Well, it comes down to the same criticism when people are like, well, RPGs, turn-based RPGs are dying. They're going away. I'm like, have you seen all the turn-based RPGs that come out every year?
Yeah.
Oh, but those don't count because they're not AAA.
AAA, yeah.
Like,
I think it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Not only is it ridiculous, but outside of Japan, RPGs were never really considered AAA games, right? Like when the first before Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation came out, and that was like the big one. That was like, oh look, it's a huge AAA. Most RPGs were just like this thing that came out, and you're like, oh look at this weird game, right? Like,
well, I mean, they can't even really say that this year, because we had a bunch of turn-based JRPG games, right? We had Triangle Strategy, we had Alive, and then they had a huge announcement that Octopath Traveler 2 is getting a sequel. And technically, those are AAA games, because it's Square Enix.
yeah, but
Nintendo also published
is an old game.
Alive. It's an old game, yeah. It's a remake, but my point still stands. Like, they remade an old game, and it sold significantly well enough to warrant a sequel. Like, within like a couple of weeks, it passed 1 million, and they were all like shocked. The studio was shocked, and they came out and we're like, "Whoa, we're so surprised." So it's like, there are the genres that you consider niche are becoming more popular than like. They're still niche, but they're growing, right? So I just don't understand. I really will never understand this argument.
Yeah. Either way, like I said, lots of RPGs coming out. It's because of what people look at, like Gary and like those people. They look at certain things, right? Like look at Call of Duty, and that's all they look at. And like, there's only Call of Duty games coming out. You're like, dude, what about all this other shit? Like,
there's a bunch of first-person shooters. Like, there's a whole resurgence of boomer shooters, like Doom type shooters, that are coming around. So,
well, they got the engine for what was it? The original. I think maybe it was the original Doom engine or something. Because there's a lot of games that they're using that engine for to make modern games. Because there's like a whole community where it's basically, I don't want to call them fan-made games, but they're basically using the old engine to make new games. And not necessarily just Doom levels, but like new games built upon that whole engine.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like, whatever you want is probably out there right now. You just have to look for it. Put a little effort into your game searching.
Yeah, I agree.
Robbie JVC says, no, it's the gamer. There's a lot of games to choose from now, recent or in my backlog. Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot what Bob Streams Game says. So we should limit creativity, stop artists making art because there's too much art, stop people from making new games because they have a passion for creating. We should ban all indie devs because their output is too high. Gary says, I didn't say that. He didn't clarify, but he didn't say it.
Well, he said less is more. So, like, what does that even mean to begin with?
That's what I'm saying. He didn't clarify. He just was like, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
He says you're welcome for the poll this week. Now that you're monetized, what percentage do I get? Nothing, Justy, because you didn't even answer the question what we were talking about. Stay on topic. Joshua Perez has a hot take. He says gaming peaked in the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube era. No paywalls, no long patches, no internet needed. The games
Well,
were
you know
actually...
what's continue, sorry. Oh my god.
The games were actually pure gaming experience before ugly practices like microtransaction and live services made their way into video games. Today's gaming has gotten stale. They try too hard to be cinematic and open world, which is boring and repetitive at this point.
If we ever bring this back up, this argument, I have found old threads from 15, 20 years ago, around the same era, claiming gaming was stagnant. The PS2 era. So this whole argument itself is stagnant because people have been bringing it up for the last 20 some odd years since the beginning of forums and the internet itself. So imagine when the NES or the Super Nintendo or the N64 and we had Reddit or Reset Error or all these different forums, we would probably know that people would be saying the same thing, like, oh, this game sucks and this is old and what are they doing, right? I would not be surprised if that actually happened. So I just...
One Inch Bicep says I was into RPG more before FF7. I do like Final Fantasy 7, but I was the same way. I was a huge Secret of Mana fan. Then Secret of Evermore came out. I love the shit out of that game. The original Final Fantasy, I played a lot of that. Then you had all the tactics games. I wouldn't count like strategy RPGs necessarily as RPGs because a lot of them were not necessarily like RPG mechanics.
Mm.
But I did like those games too. Basic Math is an unlockable. You can't beat that. Hell yeah.
Mm.
Let's see. I think Blind is saying that there are tons of smaller, less financially blind studios making games for every person that you could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And Aston says, for those who say that a ton are samey, could it be that there are so many games coming out left and right these days, and way back in the day, games took longer to come out and were more new? Feeling due to the genre. Sorry.
But also because of marketing. Like most people just saw what they heard in magazines and whatever was popular at the time. And so they conflate that, right? Like,
well, I think also, and I think I said this last time, back in the early days of gaming, right?
mm-hmm.
You didn't have genres weren't really well defined yet. When Atari went out, there wasn't really genres. It was just games, right? And then you would have a racing game, and then they would make other racing games. And then the racing genres slowly took shape as to this is what people want, right? These other racing games weren't as well received, so we stopped making games like those. We made games like the ones people liked, and that's how the genre got defined.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you do that, so then when you're someone who plays racing games, you're like, well, all these racing games are the same. Well, no shit, because that's what the genre has become now, right?
Yeah.
If you want a racing game that's different, you have to go outside the mainstream racing genre to something else.
Or like what we were saying at the beginning with Star Wars is when they do something different, people complain, and then they go, well, this didn't work. People complain it bombed, so we're not going to do it again.
Yeah. Haunted Wisp says there are certain niches that are not catered to very well, especially mine, which is competitive MMORPGs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, I think you got to look outside. Maybe in the U.S., but I'm sure in like Korea, in China, they have a ton of those, and on mobile phones. I guess if you're just talking strictly PC MMORPGs, maybe, but there's a lot on the mobile phone now.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Aston says I only grew up with the Commodore 64, so I was limited to that and never had a console until I was much older. So for me, I love seeing all the different things out there.
Mm. Yeah, perspective is also such a huge thing when people say, oh, it's samey.
I don't think so. There are plenty of options out there. Blinded says, I want to see what these people are playing to claim the game is stagnant. If you want to talk about the BS with AAA games, then that's fine. But we still have first-party games coming from Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, not to mention the hundreds of indie games released every month. If gaming is stagnant, then don't play modern games. Oof, gatekeeping.
Yeah, I stand by it.
Bob says, gaming is stagnant, my butt. Games are samey, utter BS. This is utterly nonsense. Why is this complaint now and not for past generations? We have more variety in games now than ever before. Non-gamers will say things like, why play different shooters? You're doing the same thing in different games. But any gamer can tell you the huge difference between Call of Duty, Borderlands, and Left 4 Dead.
Yes, exactly.
8 and 16-bit games are all samey because they use pixels. They were all samey because they were mostly 2D. Has about as much weight as saying all third-person games are samey. GTA 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, Monster Hunter World, all 3D person games, which are dramatically different. It's a good point.
Yes, extremely good point.
But Gary, Bad Take Gary says, you answered it. Too many options. Games all feel samey when you make them open world. It wasn't a problem 10 years ago because there weren't thousands of games and a good portion that felt the same.
He listed 3 games that were not open world, by the way, Bob.
Yeah.
So it's either Gary doesn't know those games, hasn't played those games. I mean, I assume he has to have played Left 4 Dead or Call of Duty, but I don't really understand. Like, there's other types of if you're like, oh, FPS, it's all it is, Call of Duty and Battlefield, and it's like, well, first off, Call of Duty and Battlefield are different. So if you're saying they're samey, it's like, have you played the two of them to compare? Because if you look at something visually, yeah, it's easy to say something is samey, but once you understand the meta of a game, no, like, why would you make that claim? That means that you're not playing the game. Like, you're just putting out this broad criticism because you personally don't like what's coming out. That doesn't mean something is stagnant.
Yeah, well,
right?
I think this right here, his next comment really cements that Gary doesn't know what he's talking about. He says, take Bayonetta. It's literally a God of War, Devil May Cry game. Nothing special about it. Sure, it's good and pretty, but it's nothing new. This goes exactly to what I was saying, right? Like, every beat 'em up, essentially, you could say that Final Fight, Streets of Rage, and Ninja Turtles arcade game, they're all the same, right? You go from left to right, and you hit buttons to punch people, right? Maybe the attacks are a little different, but it's essentially beating up guys until you hit a boss, you beat the boss, and then you do it all over again, right? Because that's what he's boiling it down to. Yeah, Bayonetta is God of War, is Devil May Cry, because they're action 3D
action slashers. Yeah, Bayonetta is not even comparable to God of War. Like, besides that, it's a hack and slash. I really don't understand. Like, why are you trying to die on this hill, right? You don't care about the games. Like, why are you so invested in this argument to be like gaming is stagnant? It's like, Gary, if gaming was stagnant, sell your Switch. Stop playing Nintendo games. I mean, I brought up the same point with Gary, not to badger him, but like, last year, right? I said Metroid Dread was a great game. Gary was like, no, he doesn't want to play it. It's just like, it's a generic Metroid game and the graphics look bad. And he played it and he enjoyed it. And it's like, you enjoyed it. It was an improvement on the series, right? Yes, it didn't innovate, but it innovated for the series. So what is there to complain about? Like, you didn't need to change the whole genre so then it's acceptable. Oh, it's not stagnant. It wouldn't be Metroid then.
Weren't they pissed off when Metroid went 3D?
Well, yeah, a lot of people were upset. I mean, like, it doesn't really make any sense. It's something that's new, or it's something that is old, but it's iterating, it's changing, and it's the same thing. Me and Gary always debate about Pokemon. It's like, Pokemon comes out almost every fucking year. Why does it need to be the same? You know what I mean? And then on top of that too, you're like, hey, Call of Duty is the same.
Look who decides to show up.
Yeah, finally.
Hour and 49 minutes into the stream. We're almost done, Bob.
Damn shit. I'm so sorry.
We literally went through every topic and even discussed why
Yes.
we were like, oh, we went through so fast because Bob wasn't here to give his take, which is what
And Vito was here.
Oh my god.
All games need the Amico disc.
Oh God.
Hey, you missed Vito.
Wow.
You missed the discussion we had about last night's debate, quote unquote.
Black Panther, Andor, the Doom Eternal stuff.
Oh my god, I really wanted to weigh in on the Doom Eternal topic as well. Oh.
Yeah, we skimmed over it because it was so long. The article.
Yeah, we didn't
I mean, it
do
was
any
an
due
article.
diligence.
Yes.
Yeah, I thoroughly read that article, that release. That
Oh my God.
Took me like nearly 40 minutes to read all of it.
That's what I said. I said it would take us like an hour just to read this. And that's without actually saying anything about it, just literally just reading it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
So what do you think about this AAA, not AAA, but all games being samey and stale?
It's nonsense. It's BS. Fuck Gary. I don't see how people can say that. Like, going to what Blinded just said, like, what games are these people playing? Like,
they're not playing games. I mean, if you are saying, like, I can understand if you're like, I'm a casual gamer. I don't really play games. I don't buy games that often, and like I'm very particular about my taste. That's fine. But like, I don't think you should commentate on the state of what's coming out then, because you're not playing every single new release, right? You're picking and choosing what you're playing.
yeah,
right?
I'm picking and choosing your talking points as well, because you can say, like, for example, God of War, Devil May Cry, Bayonetta. A simple, easy observation to make is they're similar because they're action games, but even similar slightly in the gameplay, but that's completely ignoring all the other aspects which make each game individual and different. And one of the big things I'm thinking is storytelling in each game. Each game has a different story.
I mean, if we're talking about just gameplay, those games have dramatically different gameplay mechanics.
Yeah.
Right? Like yes, you can boil it down that, oh, it's a hack and slash, and the concept of a hack and slash is going to apply to all three of them, but it just, like, you can't. Like, if you play the games, and you would see it's not the same. It's building on a base, right? So, I mean, it's the same. I said the same thing about Call of Duty and Battlefield, because yes, they look the same. If you look and you have no clue what's going on, yeah, it's going to look the same.
Ooh,
doesn't mean it does.
Bad Take Bob says the VCS is the most innovative console. So innovative, it can't play Atari 50.
I mean, I never ever said it was the most innovative console, man.
Beefy got the receipts.
Okay, cool. I'd like to see those receipts because I've lost those videos to the ether.
So Bob says God of War, Devil May Cry, Bayonetta are games in a similar genre, but you're boiling it down to an easy observation to prop up your argument. You're dismissing everything that makes them unique to say they're samey. Just because they're third-person hack and slash games, they're all the same. What about their different art styles, stories, combat mechanics? Those get thrown out to the wayside because they're not important. There's endless amounts of games available. You haven't got to play them all. And there's a wide variety of genres and subgenres within those games. If people stopped making things because they were samey, we would have no new movies, TV shows, music, or games. Art influences art and is built on each other. You're not going to be able to experience every single piece of media. Don't make it that bad.
And I also go back to the thing is, what is more important? Like, we're talking about innovation. Like, does that make a game fun? Because I've heard many people in the chat, many people on this panel say they disliked Death Stranding, right? Death Stranding, you can argue, is innovative, right? Based on the gameplay mechanics, based on what it's trying to, the objective of the game, right?
I think it's batshit insane.
But people say it's boring. So you guys, so not saying you guys, everybody, but the claim that you guys are making, right? Oh, it has to be innovative. Well, here's a game that's innovative, and you think it's boring. So that means that innovation doesn't equal fun. Like, gaming and art should be about like showcasing or invoking some type of emotion. That should be the goal. If something can succeed, I think that it does warrant some praise, because not everything can do that. But that's the goal here, is to have fun while you're playing a game, right? That should be the main concern.
You would think. You would hope.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Obviously, I had to thank my pal Super Scooper. He's the one who gave me the full Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever plot, and we did a video and an article, which I think I said it was at 13, but let me check it again. Let's see where it's at right now. It's currently sitting at 14,110 views. I got $7 off of that. So, thank you again, Super Scooper. Make sure you follow Super Scooper on Twitter. Great account, has all the inside information. Definitely not run by Bob.
Ooh, ouch.
Do you avoid movie spoilers? Was our other poll question. 125 votes. 78% said yes. 22% said no. What about you guys? You avoid movie spoilers?
Not really. I prefer
Depends.
to know.
Bob?
Sometimes.
I used to, but then I was like, I don't think it really matters. Like, even if I hear what's going to happen, seeing it is so much different, right?
I feel like it makes you either enjoy the movie more or be slightly more critical of the movie.
Aston says, if it's something I really want to see, I do my best to avoid spoilers. Wayne says, I don't want any spoilers. Like I said, I used to avoid them, and then I was just like, when I got spoiled on certain things, I was like, this didn't really ruin my experience, right? Because knowing beforehand, certain characters died or certain plot things happened or there's twist. Hell, sometimes I'm like, hey, I think the movie is going to be like this, and then I read the spoilers, like, oh shit, I was pleasantly surprised. Now I really want to see it. Now I have a better, excitement level for the movie.
Yeah, it varies from thing to thing for me. Sometimes getting spoilers for something I'm not really that interested in can get me more interested in it. Sometimes if it's something I'm really excited to see, I don't want any spoilers so I can be surprised as much as possible with what's in the movie or media.
Jamie C says, hi guys, missed a few vids. Congrats on the 1K. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
We appreciate it. We appreciate everybody. All right. Also, apparently, this caused a lot of controversy. I didn't think it was. I didn't think this was going to cause any controversy. But this was posted on Reddit in the Amico, Intellivision_Amico Reddit. And apparently this really pissed off the admin of the group. He's very upset. How dare you post this political picture on Reddit during election day? These evil right-wing.
What?
Yeah. Because Don't Walk Run
Channel.
Productions is a political channel. He's a right-wing pundit who criticizes the left, goes over their stuff, tells you why, maybe they're lying or they're stretching the truth or whatever, right? He has his bias. He's his side. But this has nothing to do with any of that. This was just, hey, this dude who has a 500,000 plus YouTube channel is wearing an Intellivision shirt. And the joke is, hey, the real marketing is starting, right? That's it. That's literally it. Nothing political about that. But apparently that pissed people off. How dare you? I guess because Joe Biden's in the picture.
Yeah.
All right. This was surprising. How many games do you expect to complete /beat/finish?
Oh, this exposed all these people.
Exposed. The choices were less than 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 40, or 41 plus. Somehow, the overwhelming majority of people who voted from this community, which is, we are basically gamers, 64% said they would expect to finish less than 5 games this year.
How? Aren't you? This is the same group of people that polled with the other Does this make sense?
It
I
doesn't.
want to know now. I want to know how many games did people drop?
Oh, I dropped a lot.
How many? What did you vote, Bob? Did you vote?
I vote 6 to 10, but this was on the basis of beating new games that I hadn't beat before, and also excluding games which were multiplayer and don't really have an end.
Well, obviously, you can't beat a game that doesn't have an end.
Yeah, exactly. And also discounting games which I just completely abandoned and didn't want to play.
Well, yeah, if you abandoned them, you didn't beat them, Bob. The question wasn't how many games have you played this year.
Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
So, why are you playing games that you've beaten already? I think that's the better question.
Because I enjoyed them before and I want to re-experience them, I guess. I like the gameplay mechanics. I enjoyed them. Nostalgia.
I am silently judging you, Bob. You can't see me, but my
Well,
eyes are like judging you.
So,
What
well,
were those games? Just out of curiosity, because
games that I've beaten again, like Empire of Steel, Zelda 2, Super Mario World, Super Mario 3, Mega Man 2, Sonic 2, Splatterhouse 2.
by the way, can I say I've been playing Sonic 2 and I fucking hate that game.
Why are you playing it then?
Well, just so I can shit on it.
Wow.
That's what I do.
Tender, Sweet and Tender says because old movies and games are good, remakes and new games suck. Hot take.
I mean, you say remakes, but what remakes? I mean, people say this, right? They're like, oh, they're remaking another movie, and then they go, oh, The Thing is my favorite horror movie of all time. It's like, are you serious?
They don't realize. They don't.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous. Oh my god.
Jamie C says I'm still trying to beat Cuphead, and I bought it day one. Oof. I seen Bob struggling to play
Ugh.
Cuphead the other day.
The DLC.
Not the other day. It was a while back, but he was struggling. The game looked so easy. I'm like, how's Bob like having trouble? Has he got bad controls?
No, I think it's coming in cold from not playing the main game for a long while and just jumping straight into the DLC. The DLC just starts out quite difficult. And it's just the type of game it is. You can spend an hour or two on one boss without beating it.
1 Inch Bicep says I put less than 5. I'm old. I want my Resident Evil remakes. Potion Sword Run says he only beat about 5 games a year. Honestly, I play hundreds though, but only finish ones worth my time. I can understand that, but if I get so far, like if I get, I would say 30% into a game, right? Then I've invested enough time that I say, well, I got to finish the other 70. I have to. Like Cobra Kai, I'm probably not going to finish that. If they don't patch this fucking game that I spent full price for, and I'm very pissed off about, then I'm never going to finish it. Did you see me playing it? I don't know if you see
Yeah.
it.
No, I haven't seen you play it.
Oh my god. Okay, so characters are clipping through the floor. They're clipping through the walls. When I played it on stream, I had a glitch because it gives you the option to restart from checkpoint or whatever, right? So I restarted because I had messed something up, and the game glitched out where I was stuck inside a mountain, and all you could see was the top of the mountain. And then I tried moving around, and then all of a sudden, like it got all fucking weirdy, and there was like flashing fucking mountain graphics. Then I played it off stream, and I loaded up a level, and all of the fucking assets were missing. So it was just like it was just the floor, and like all the walls were missing.
Yikes!
What is this? Another time, like just certain walls were missing, and I was like, 2022, the characters would get frozen and stuck. Like I would get hit by a character, fly into the air, and then get stuck on the ground, and I couldn't move. It's supposed to have a mechanic where you can change between 4 characters on the fly. It would stop allowing me to change, like say the left character, just for no reason. Like, no, you can't pick that character. We're not gonna let you. You can set your moves, right? Because it's like 4 different attacks for triangle, square, cross, circle. So I set it. I did all the things, started a level, and the game glitched where it just took the moves away. so there was nothing set in those slots.
Wow.
And
That
it
sounds
doesn't.
really
It's
bad.
not even a fucking. It doesn't even look like a PS5 game. It looks like a PS3, maybe PS2 game. Like that's how, shitty the graphics are. And I'm being told that the PS4 version runs even worse.
Oh, no excuse. Jesus.
Yeah, it says Cobra Kai just came out for like $50. I'd pay 20 max, more like 10 for that game. Yeah. I
Yeah.
put out a video today, like, don't buy it. Like, I've never put out a video where I'm like, don't buy something. I'm like, don't fucking buy this shit. It is terrible. Yep, Bob knows Cuphead. It took me an hour or so to beat the pirate guy, but he's the first boss level beat in ages.
Yeah.
Aspen says it's as if the longer that is being played, the buggier it gets. It did seem like that, like it was getting buggier as it was going along. So, how many games have you do you plan on beating this year, Blinded?
I'm at 45, so and then I have like 6 new releases, and I was playing some other stuff, so I might end up like over 50 if I concentrate on it. Because sometimes I just take breaks.
Are those all games that you've never beaten before?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm at 46.
Damn.
I'm trying to hit the 50. Trying to hit the 50. And I think I'll get it because what we got this month and next month. Yeah. And yes, Bob, they're all games I've never beaten before. Some of them are shorter, like Man and Medine was like 4 hours. I beat that. I'm not like some people, right? I don't need to get the perfect ending with everybody saved. Just I made it to the end of the game, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to do it with 100%. Like I beat Batman Arkham City. I didn't 100% it. I didn't get all the fucking collectibles, yada, yada, yada. But I beat it. Arkham Asylum, I beat it.
Mm-hmm.
I did go back and get all the Riddler icons. And that, I know everybody's like, it's a fucking masterpiece. It's the greatest game ever, right? It's fucking chiz yourself. But explain to me, because the game is supposed to be grounded, right?
Well, it's not grounded, but
it's more or less. Like I understand the elements of it that are over the top, like the Joker and the formula and all that other shit, right?
well, I mean, Clayface, and it's not like the Dark Knight or
no,
the
but
Batman.
what I'm saying is, everything makes sense, right? There's a
logically,
reason. Logically. Yeah. But the Riddler trophies have no logic to them. How did the Riddler get trophies on the roof of Arkham Asylum? How did he paint the big Riddler signs? The question
ain't
marks?
no one's gonna defend this. just to let you know, like we think it's a masterpiece, and then we go, but fuck the Riddler trophies. No one's gonna defend this.
But I was just like this is like the weirdest thing. Like I break down a wall and there's a Riddler trophy. I'm like,
yeah.
How did he get that back there? Is the Riddler just climbing through the vents, dropping trophies off? Like, what the fuck's going on here? It makes no sense.
I mean, they're creative in the sense that it's not like copy and paste. Like,
no, some of them are. Some of them are creative, and some are just like, yeah, it's right there behind a grate. Just walk around.
But like compared to, I'm trying to think of a game that does something similar. That's just like you finding like tokens in the open world or some bullshit. There's a lot of games like that, and it's just.
Well, like I said, some of it was good. A lot of it was like, oh, look, here's my riddle. That's not really a riddle. It's just basically take a picture of the Penguin poster, take a picture of the Bane poster, right? It's like, I think they could have, they should have separated the Riddler trophies. They should have just changed those to something else, made actual riddles that you had to figure out in each like little section that would make more sense. And separate them, like, oh, you figured out all the riddles and you captured the Riddler. The trophies are just like that's the gamey part of it, right? Don't include that in like as part of a story, because there is a story. If you collect all the trophies, you figure out his location and he gets arrested. So that means logically, within the context of the story of the game, he did hide those trophies.
Yeah.
So that's the part where it's like, no, don't make that part of the story, like, because in the sequel, isn't that why he's getting revenge too? Because you get him arrested in the first one.
Yeah.
So as far as the storyline of the Arkham games is concerned, The Riddler was climbing through vents. He got on top of fucking Arkham Asylum. He was blowing up walls and then like repaving them so you could blow them up later. Makes no
Yeah,
fucking sense.
it's like that in Arkham Knight too. Yeah, I'm not gonna defend it, so no.
No.
Oh, what's up? Canadian Flamer says, congratulations on being promoted to ads, guys. Well, thank you. Potion Sword Run says, I need to stop exploring in my games. I'm literally walking and searching for everything, not 100. But I like to see everything and everywhere. Yeah, sometimes I would do that too. Like, you're just searching around. Like, I hate games that have areas. Like okay, you got to go through a map, and then there's like a side trail. Because my gamer instinct goes, take the side trail, right? Take the side trail, because that's going to lead you to like a treasure chest. And then you get there and there's nothing, and you're like, why is that in the game? Why are there side trails if there's nothing there? Like, it's like, look how open the world this game is, but there's nothing there for you to collect. Like, don't do that. That's just like padding the game out. Like, fucking, I'd rather be railroaded as long as it's rewarding, right? Than to say, here's all these branching paths that give you shit.
Well, that's if you want to talk about problems in gaming, I feel like a lot of games do pad to justify the price of the game.
Yeah,
Especially something like Ubisoft.
for sure.
Yeah.
Oof. Haunted Wisp says, I did with Cyberpunk on parking Stadia, and now Stadia is shutting down. I can export my saved game, but I have to buy it again on Steam or something. Don't you get a refund though on everything?
Yeah, you do get a refund.
Yeah, so it's not like
You can just take that money and buy it again.
and you can probably buy it on sale now because it's probably on sale on the other.
Yeah, you can find Cyberpunk for like dirt cheap on almost every platform.
All right, and that was the end of our polls. And I just want to remind you that I was on Mad Max's stream when he was talking about Andor, and we did a spotlight on Chained Echoes, which looks fucking fantastic. I'm very excited about this game. 7 years to make. A single developer worked on it.
Wow.
It's being called his magnum opus. It's coming out December 8th.
I might check it out.
Gary would like it because it's an old school turn-based RPG with SNES style graphics. Right up his alley. Every time there's something up either Bob's alley or Gary's alley, like, you guys aren't here for the show. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Mad Max's Smash stream was great. Yeah, it was. It was pretty good. I wasn't supposed to be on it. I was just in the chat. He's like, "Well, you want to come on?" I'm like, well, I guess. It's like, let me try my new audio setup on Mad Max's stream.
Nice.
How is my audio, Bob? Is it doing good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think it's got a bit more bass.
That's because my balls dropped.
Yeah.
So, well, 2 hours and 13 minutes. It was a nice, streamlined show. Any other? Bob, did I win the debate last night? Was it bad? Me and Little Movie Perp, because there was some controversy about that. Little Movie Perp's now saying he was on gummies and he wasn't really thinking straight. And
Well, then don't join a debate if you're inebriated.
that's what I said.
You lose, sir. Good day.
Yeah. Tony say Tommy Tallarico is great and awesome, and I wish he comes back.
Oh my god.
All right. We're going to take off. No after show or nothing tonight. I wasn't feeling good anyway. Maybe we'll do something tomorrow. Probably not. Any plans coming up, Bob? Anything we should know about?
No. I'll go to sort out a schedule, but I'm terrible at sticking to a schedule.
Maybe you'll stick to a schedule if the schedule doesn't work out. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oof.
Where's the hang after this? I have no idea. One inch biceps. I could believe the gummies thing. That dude wasn't making many. That's what I said. Like he was like, "Oh my god!" Like he's like being all sarcastic, like, "Yeah, I got blown out." I'm like, "Dude, you weren't making any points. You literally had no stats to back up any of the things you said. You had no examples. When I asked a question, you're like, I don't fucking know." Like, but apparently, I'm being called the asshole. Apparently, I lost, and I'm a horrible person or some shit. I don't know.
You lost because you're an arsehole because the guy couldn't defend his points because he was inebriated.
No, well, basically, the reason I lose, Bob, is because my point is wrong, and therefore I can't win. Because the lefties who were against it, the individual who was in the video we were talking about, he was like, "You're a bigot, Tony," because I said all jokes are funny. I said you could joke about anything, and jokes are funny. And then he called me a bigot.
Okay.
And then he said I was thirsty. And so you guys gotta love this, right? So he was having a live stream. I had nothing to do for the hour before this, right? So I was like, well, let me go into live stream and see what's going on, right? So apparently by being in the live stream, I was quote unquote thirsty to debate him. And I was also very triggered because I disagreed with somebody in the chat over something.
Right.
It's very weird. And apparently, I'm also not very good at this because he didn't like my answer. It's very weird. Weird time on YouTube. So also,
sounds like he was butthurt.
He's like, well, I'll have you come on this week for a stream, right? And I'm like, okay. He's like, but you can't break terms of service and use any slurs. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't use like slurs, right?
Oh my god.
Like, okay, like I'm not gonna like use a slur in the stream. But then I think I said something to the effect of, well, I don't use the N-word anyway, or the F slur, right? He's like, well, why do you use slurs? I'm like, well, I just said that because if I say I don't use slurs, I'm sure what you think a slur is and what I think a slur is might be a different thing, right? And I don't want to just, paint an absolute without like checking first, right?
Yeah.
He's like, well, why do you use those? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't use those two because those are like the bad ones, right? They're unnecessary to use those. I was like, but other things, because then he started calling people chuds. I'm like, that's a slur. It's like, well, no, it's not. Don't you understand what innate properties are? I'm like, yeah, I do. But you're using that word in a derogatory manner towards a group of people you don't like, right? So that is a slur. And if you're saying innate properties, like, so I guess if I call someone a ginger, that's a slur, right? I can't call people gingers no more because they can't control having red hair and pale skin. It's like, where do we draw the line? Oh, we only draw the line because certain people get protection and other people don't get protection, right? It's like, come on. It's like, I can't insult short people now. I can't be like, hey, little guy, because, oh, shit, he can't control his height. So, but of course, I'm an idiot, taking things too far. Evil right-wing guy. Ginger power. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I say everything can be joked about. As long as the joke is funny, I don't care. But you can't limit what humor can be about. You can't limit what people can make jokes about.
I mean, a lot of people find solace in humor too, right? Like someone dies. If you've been
Dark humor.
Yeah. I mean, just going to funerals though, like there's always jokes or levity and stuff about the person or about death itself. So I've never really agreed with that. As long as it's a funny joke and it's not ill intent or there's not a motive behind it, I mean, it shouldn't matter. Yeah.
Sweet and Tender says physical appearance. When Tommy did it, it was wrong, right? No, when Tommy did it, it was a bad look. There's a difference between making a joke when you're a nobody and the CEO of a family-friendly gaming console making the same joke, right? Like, that's a bad look for the company that you're trying to represent. It's the reason why I have a frog avatar and not my face, right? Because then the people I work with will be like, Tony, you shouldn't be saying those things. You're making the company look bad. And then I say, sorry, Mr. Biden, I won't do that anymore. Not Joe Biden, like a different Biden, totally different. I don't work for the president. Make sure you edit that out.
Or Joe Biden's gonna get us.
Yeah. So like I said, it's very weird. Like this individual, and I don't even know if I'm going to debate him now because just talking to him in the chat, he has this very high opinion of himself. Like he thinks like what he says is true and unfallible. Like you can't debate him because what he's saying is true and what you're saying is just wrong, right? And you can't have a conversation with those kind of people. Tony just docks his job. Stop pointing that out. Right? It's like there's certain things that, like, yes, killing people is wrong. There's really no debate to be had there, right? But you can tell me killing people is okay. Let's hear this one, Bob.
Well, it depends. Like, is it wrong to kill someone who's killing other people?
Yes. There's no answer for that. I say yes.
No answer.
If you're going to, this is exactly what happened to Perp. If you're going to present something, Bob, you have to have like, okay, now back it up. Why would you disagree with what I just said? I said yes, it's wrong to kill across the board, full stop. You said, well, what about someone killing someone? I said no. I said full stop. Okay, killing is wrong. Obviously, you disagree with that. Why would you think it's okay to kill somebody who kills other people?
Bob didn't watch Black Panther.
Because look at Bob. Let's say Blinded is killing people, right?
Yeah.
And so you kill Blinded. Now you're a killer. Does that mean I can kill you?
Technically, but I was kind of going on the premise of Blinded is killing loads of people, and me killing him.
So the amount of people matters. So if you kill one person, it's okay. Don't kill that guy. It's just one guy. If you kill multiple people, then
it's a morally slippery slope.
Bob goes by the Dexter code.
Well, what about euthanasia?
What about euthanasia? Euthanasia?
That's totally different.
Little
totally
kids in Asia
Bob.
got nothing to do with this, Bob. Youths in Asia shouldn't be. You shouldn't attack them just because they're small Asian people.
True. I guess that's my racism showing again.
Hey, Russia's in Asia.
Yeah.
You're saying they're.
This panel killed it by putting Junior Beefy to sleep. Well, I'm glad. We could help. But no, I understand what you're trying to say. You're trying to say, well, there's bad people, right? We should kill bad people, right? Because they kill other people. They're criminals. But why would you think that's okay? Why is it okay to kill criminals? Should they not? I don't think so. Now, here's my counter to this. Like, well, you would say, well, they're bad people. We got to get rid of them, right? But isn't it worse to make them live with the guilt and feelings of what they've done versus giving them the sweet release of death?
Depends.
A bigger
depends
punishment?
If they feel guilt. What if they get pleasure and enjoyment from killing people? And they're sitting there just going, I killed 100 people. Excellent.
Yeah, but we take away their freedom. So when they're stuck in jail, getting beat with soap by the other inmates, I think that's probably a worse penalty than like killing them. They have to live with the threat of being raped in prison versus being dead.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a worse fate.
True.
See, I win another one. I never lose debate. I need more Bobbies on the beat. Hot women Bobbies, that is. Deep fried people said, "What the fuck?" I am not for capital punishment. I don't believe that people should be killed for any reason. Because all life is sacred, right? I can't have the idea that certain people's lives are less important or less valuable, because that's a slippery slope, right? Because then we're going, well, this guy's not contributing to society. Shouldn't we just kill that guy?
Possibly, yeah.
Bob, you're out there like
possibly.
You're out there cleaning the streets like fucking homeless people. No.
Oh no. He's like reverse Batman. Oh fuck.
Don't give me ideas, Blinded.
British Batman. Fuck.
Youth in America is probably marbleized better due to fat content, yummy.
Oh
Yeah,
god.
we're out there eating people now. Soylent Green. Why does Tony hang out with low energy people? I don't know. It happens a lot.
Mm.
It's because it makes him look better by contrast.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess maybe I'll debate somebody this week if I decide if we narrow down the topic. But like I said, he already was jumping to conclusions about me, like in what I believe, and like there was people because they were talking about the Geeks and Gamers crowd, right? And because I was in the chat disagreeing with some statement that was made, like suddenly I was a fan of. I'm like, do you not even like know who I am? And you're just like assuming that I like Nerdrotic and fucking Ryan Kinnell, right? I don't. I don't like any of these people.
I kind of hate when people conflate people together. It's just like, come on.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Especially when Tony's criticized them multiple times.
Yeah, I got whole videos criticizing all these people, and suddenly, like, I'm their fan.
Yeah.
I mean, you can defend what someone says and not be a fan of them. You know, I can criticize people I'm fans of.
Well, not just that. Like sometimes, like Ryan Kinnell, not every word out of his mouth is wrong, right? Like there's this idea
I beg to differ, but yeah.
No, I mean, if he said it's raining, I'm not gonna be like, what's wrong? Give me a second, Blinded. Take over.
Yeah. Oh, how am I supposed to take over? I'm low energy. Remember?
No, I thought he was talking about someone else. But take over.
Oh, but he is right about that. What are we gonna? Yeah, where were you, Bob?
I was.
Everybody
asleep,
wants to
bro.
know.
I was asleep.
You were asleep. Seriously, you missed Vito. Vito was holding up the show.
Shit.
He was carrying the show for us.
Yeah.
And then his internet mysteriously went out.
Rip.
Oh, you want to give us your take on God of War?
God of War is so fucking incredible. Like the new one. So many good things about it. It's beautiful. The
Does it make Xbox cry?
Yes.
Always. Sorry, I had to go. My not son came home. I had to make sure he was okay.
Oh. My not son.
My not son. My not real. He's not real.
Yeah, he doesn't exist.
He just went to a party, and he said he's exhausted. There was a lot of people he didn't know there. Friends of friends, you know how that goes. Ask Bob what he thinks about snow. I don't know what you think about snow, Bob.
Snow is white.
Oh, don't say snow and then it starts snowing outside for me. Fuck.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be debating because, again, the idea that somehow a story based on Danish folklore has no reason to be Danish people in the role, but a story of a fictional African country needs to be portrayed by real African people. Just seems wrong to me, right? Like they're on the base level, right? If you just boil things down, like they're the same. It's the same idea. Respect the lore, respect what is there, right? And then you go, well, this could be changed. I could change this to be modern, but you can't change this.
For the Little Mermaid though, just as like a counter, I mean, like I said, it is based on the Danish story, but it's not entirely based on it. So that's why I've never really. I was like, like it's not that big of a deal for me. And on top of that, too, I'm not even that interested in the movie.
I'm not interested in it. It was just a topic. Did he smell like the pot? I didn't sniff him yet. I gotta sniff him. Make sure he doesn't smell like the pot. No, but what I'm saying is that, okay. So, the Disney one isn't based on the new movie is based on the animated Disney
movie, yes.
So then again, even if you go, well, it's not based on the Danish book anymore, right? But it's based on the Disney cartoon, which is based on the thing, right? No one complained when they made Sebastian Caribbean and had songs that were
Mhm.
upbeat, right? No one was like, "Oh my God, you're changing the story." No, because you still
Yes, yeah.
respected the heart of the story was still there, right? And you made it
Mhm.
family friendly, and you changed some things and made it a musical, right? But then you
Mhm.
go, "We have this thing that everyone loves, and we're going to make a live action version, but now we're going to change a whole bunch of stuff again." It's like, why?
Mhm.
And I can understand both arguments, but the argument that, well, making her black is somehow going to reach a bigger audience, and I'm like, but why would you think that? Did you think that, like,
I don't. The thing is, I really would be like, you can't really argue that point without hearing the casting director, because it could be possible that they were looking at all these different races, and
well,
that she just so happened to be like a black Ariella, right, or whatever the character's name. I'm blanking on the character's
Ariel?
name, but Ariel, right? So yeah, so it's, like, I mean, now they're trying to open the casting for like different races, right? But sometimes they still look for, okay, this person has to be white, this person still has to be black, and stuff like that, right? But when it comes to, you know, these movies where it's like, well, I guess you can play around with it and it's not, doesn't matter. But I mean, that's still yet to see. We don't really know. So,
Yeah, but I just, like I said, I don't have an issue with it, right? I'm not like, oh my
mm.
God, fucking ban the movie.
Yeah, I
All
know you. Yeah. Yeah.
the issue I have with it is when people are like, well, this one has to be protected, this one doesn't matter. Like, don't pick and choose, right? You have to
Mm.
have consistency in your argument. Like, if you're like, I don't want any movie changed, okay, that's consistency. If you're like, I don't care if anything gets changed, that's also a consistency. But you can't pick and choose which you think is okay to be and acceptable to be changed. On top of the
Mm.
fact that apparently the director just saw her singing and like was moved to tears and was like, "That's our fucking Ariel." Apparently, she has a long history with like Disney sing along uh, specials or whatever, because she's like
Mm.
a singer, and then I guess she was like a YouTube star with her sister. So she's like, the kids know her. The kids kind of know who
Mm.
she is. Yeah.
I mean, no one was complaining about Will Smith's casting, and that should have been someone
No, I
who's
think
Middle
people were
Eastern.
because not the Middle Eastern part, but because what's the name did such a fucking job.
Yeah.
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Williams.
Robin Williams. Yeah.
And I think people wanted more of a Robin Williams esque actor versus
Mhm.
Will Smith.
Well, I mean, if they're gonna pick someone that was live action, it kind of makes sense.
I mean,
Charisma wise,
he's blue, so it's not like,
yeah. But like, based on the setting, and what I mean, I don't know. I never really. It's a Disney movie. Like, there's already problems with them remaking it in itself,
yeah,
that
yeah.
I've never really cared so much about the gender bending or the fucking rate. Like, I don't give a shit. It's a fucking movie. It's entertainment. Like it or dislike it. It's your choice.
Yeah, I understand. I agree. But like I said, for me, I was just really arguing the
Yeah.
debate, the point that they were
Debate. Yeah.
making. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. See how I feel. You up to anything, Blinded? Anything we should be looking forward to you doing this week? Any upcoming projects?
I might be. I'm trying to work on this video for Fallout. It's sort of like a wish list of the TV show, because the TV show is coming out. So I'm trying to like think of things that they could put in the show, or that I want to put in the show. So we'll see if that video comes out, because I'm kind of lazy.
You got to do it. You got to do it. So before we go, what did you guys think of the whole Jason Momoa, DC? Oh my God, greatest film ever! Thank you, Maestro. And then him turning around going, whoa, it's not Zack Snyder. And then Zack Snyder turned around going, whoa. DC hasn't called me yet, guys.
Yeah, DC's never gonna call him. At least not for the time being.
And then the Snyder fans, because the Snyder fans were like, yeah, Jason Momoa was talking about the Snyderverse. Well, Jason Momoa is under NDA. That's why. Well, Zack Snyder's a liar. Like what?
Yeah, they're trying to use that excuse of Andrew Garfield. I mean, there's actors who, the thing is, if you go and listen to what they're saying, they're very coy and they choose their words carefully. So they lie, yes, but if you listen to their words, they didn't actually lie. So I don't really believe that excuse. And we already know that Zack Snyder is busy making other movies.
Well, I think there's a difference, right? There's a stark difference between are you going
Yes.
to be in Spider-Man No Way Home versus are you ever going to make another movie with DC, right? Like,
Yeah. And it's a different level, right? Like he has
Yeah.
he has to negotiate, and he has to also pitch the idea. Like there's so many factors compared to an actor who just has to sign a deal, get fitted, and work out the schedule and stuff. So it's not even comparable.
that was it for the week. We stretched out an extra half hour. Thank you, Bob, for showing up late. You will be docked. We're going to dock your pay.
No.
Thank you, Blinded, for holding it down. Thank you, Vito, for being here earlier before your router
Yes.
blew up.
MVP of the night.
Yeah. All right. You know how we do it here. Love, peace, booty grease. We out this bitch.